Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Iron Age Nights. How is everybody doing?
Doing great.
Fantastic.
Looking forward to talking to everybody tonight.
Yeah, no, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. I do know that RH Snow is on her way. We just got the show started because I don't like being late. And so I will start the show. It's fantastic. Gentlemen, how are you doing while we wait for our fantastic guest?
I'm doing well. It's been a busy week doing client work. I did get some work done as I posted on Twitter. A little over 3,000 words to close out Chapter 5 of Aes Sedai 2.
Oh, wow.
Very cool.
Wow. That's
nuts. A lot of pent-up creativity to let out in one sitting.
Sir, don't talk about it on stream. Sorry.
I knew you were going to hit that one.
I mean, you can't not, right? Might as well get those jokes out of the way before the lady joins us. I don't know. From what I am told, she's a pistol, so we might have our we might.
Oh, she's a Texan, hence the shirt I decided to wear today.
Oh,
there you go.
We are not descended from fearful men.
No, that is a very true thing. Oh, you know what I totally should do? I should say hello to the chat.
Yes.
As
hello, chat.
Yes, because if I don't say hello to the chat, I mean they're the reason that we're here, right? And it is, and it's my chat, so I'm gonna walk into this with a couple black eyes in about 5 seconds. But ladies and gentlemen, let's say hello to all of you fantastic people. Hello, how are you down in the John A. Douglas, a member for 3 months. He says, "Ooga chaka, ooga 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 chaka."
Don't make me sing.
Right. Oh, it's great. Hey, what's going on? All right, Snow, how are you doing?
Uh-oh. You lost her.
Uh-oh. No technical difficulties.
I am still alive. Yay.
There she is.
There we go.
And I got the,
there she is.
There you
set
go.
up and everything. Good job.
There.
Uh-oh.
How are you
Good
doing
deal.
today, guys?
Good. There is something going on with your audio. You're cutting in and out.
Hang on just a second. I'm going to do you a favor and I'm going to hop right back in. Hold on, guys.
Okay. Yep. Nope. Go for that. All right. Down in the chat, we have King Bob. We've got
King
Calvin
Bob.
Gulata. Yeah. Oh wait. I'm sorry. I got to say that correctly. King Bob. Sorry. Sorry. Well, he changed his name because I was saying it like that all night. So, Calvin Goulat is down in the chat. Stay based. A.S. Brunert's down in the chat. Horizon Talker. Hello. Skunks Workshop. How are you doing, man? Raven Nevermore. Silent Unseen. Trippy Soul. What's going on? Trippy, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who finds the fantastic conversations and sends them to me and tells me to make them clips. It's fantastic. Redoubt Productions is down here as well. Blames me for alcoholism. That's awesome. I love getting blamed for that. That's great. Thank you. Kikomon, hello. How are you, good sir? 10 Cage, what's going on, man? I saw your name float by in the chat on Friday Night Tights. I was watching that show a little while ago. James Craig, hello. The man, the myth, the legend, who is writing fantastic books as well. And also apparently can chat in YouTube again. TJ Marquis, Studio 38, Darkish Multiverse. What's going on? The Myriasphere Origins, Paladin, Dragoon Rider, Chris M. What's going on? Evele Music. And Stay Based. Did I already say Stay Based? I think I did.
Yes,
maybe I didn't. But Oxen W. I totally missed Oxen W. Aaron Beringer. Oh my God, the chat jumped on me. Iron Age Media. He's double dipping you. Yeah, there's the double dip. The chat jumped on me quite a bit there. I actually missed a bunch of names. Okay, I think I got it. If I didn't say your name down in the chat, you can obviously let me know. Let's say hello to Jason Sandberg as well before we kick off the absolutely fantabulous conversation that we're going to have this evening. And before, now I know this is not proper etiquette. But yeah, I will, Herman. I will. Okay, so you better be. Oh
Master
man.
Lore Forge.
But before we get to our fantastic fantastic guest who I've heard is a pistol, and we're going to have our work cut out for us tonight. I'm going to, as always, say hello to my fantastic co-hosts and see how their week has been going. So, Richard, how have you been, man? What have you been doing this last week?
I've just been busy. I've been juggling some shenanigans with the day job, and then also trying to get everything figured out with the whole magazine thing coming up here. So. And also trying to encourage people to vote on the January prompts. So I've got too many irons in the fire at the moment.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
Don't we all?
I know how that goes. Absolutely. TSBOL comes in for $10. Thank you so much, good sir. I appreciate it. He comes in $10, drops it on the bar, walks away. Thank you so much, man. Dude, I mean it when I say thank you so much for all of your guys' support. Like this is why the show is 18 episodes deep right now and building a community around it. That's fantastic. So, well, Daniel, I know you had a little bit of a talking about what you were doing in this last week. Do you have anything else you'd like to say about your last week, what you're working on, how you do?
No. Let's get to our illustrious guest.
All right, and a lady
Threw it over to me. Just gotta think of something fun to say.
he can't show. He can't show.
Yeah, I don't chill. You know,
Yeah.
you could put a gun to my head and I'd be like, just shoot me.
Yeah, well, unless we get him liquored up enough, or he gets
yeah.
liquored up enough.
Yeah. Usually he's liquored up enough by the end of it. He gets really loose-lipped by the end. It's great.
I've seen that. I watched. Yeah.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know, we are here with the fantastic, bubbly personality all the way from Texas, Mrs. R.H. Snow herself. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I had a really busy day, and I think I've slept maybe 3 hours, 4 hours total.
Oh, man. Oh, I've been there. Well, if for some reason you have to bow out early, you let us know.
No. I'm actually storm spotter. I'm the head storm spotter for our county, and we had some issues the other night. So we actually had a long night. So I'm on nights now because I was up all night as a front came through, and we were watching to see if any storms happened. Because when you're doing Skywarn, you have to be there before it happens. You can't just wait until we're the reason that we get a warning is because we're watching. And so if I see something on the radar, I go outside and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I have to send a spotter here. I've got to wake up somebody and call them and ask them what they're doing there. So I stayed up all night long. And then I was like, oh, holy cow, I can't sleep. And my brain won't turn off. So I wrote like all night long. I actually got like 5,000 words, something done on my
very nice.
And then I couldn't shut it off. And then I've been having other stuff that was going on today. And so I'm just sort of wired up. And I have not had coffee yet since I sat down.
That is insane.
Done it, I would have already been like totally like woo, but I'm just me.
Say,
right
no coffee. That's living very dangerously there.
That's heresy.
I have coffee, but if it's really hot and I'm trying to talk on camera, have you ever done that thing where you get something and it's like you spill it on yourself and it looks really bad? And so I don't want to do that. So instead, I do have a friend here, my little sparkle cup. Look at how pretty it is.
There you go.
Full of good things.
So I got to ask,
my many drinks on stream, I have yet to spill anything on myself. Knock on wood.
Congratulations. What part of Texas are you from?
I'm actually from Central Texas. I'm from Limestone County. Most people know that now, so I'll go ahead and say it. Limestone County is actually about 40 miles east of Waco.
Okay.
We're a very rural county. We have a lot of wonderful amenities. We're not like just out in the dirt somewhere, and have about 20,000 people in total in the whole county. So I work with the volunteer fire department. In fact, my husband helped found one of the volunteer fire departments out here, part of a wonderful community. Volunteer firefighters and EMTs and law enforcement out here, and we do a lot of we have a really crazy schedule, and we answer a lot of calls and stuff. And I've pulled back some from the fire side of it because I had some health issues that said, you really don't want to be seen on scene, as we call it, and so I had to stop doing that as much. But so I still do the weather and do all that, and that's kind of our thing out here. And so in Limestone County, there's more cows than there are people, and and we like it that way. We love it. But the people are wonderful, friendly folks. I love each and every one of them. and so many great people that we've met out here. And I've moved from all over the country. My dad was actually an engineer with NASA, and he worked.
That's cool.
Yeah, he was with NASA. He was actually what used to be called a job shopper. And so he went from place to place. I'm super old, in case you haven't seen me yet. Look, it's the case. I'm 900 years old at least.
I don't think I buy that.
No, I'm 60 years old. So it's like,
no way. There's no way.
No, there is. It is. I can prove it. Nobody lies about that. You know,
Are you really? No way.
After a certain point, you don't lie about your age anymore.
No. But I'm sorry. I guessed maybe late 40s. Maybe.
Okay, this is how you know I am 60, because I'm like, yeah, that's great. In their 40s, they're like, looks like I'm in my 40s.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my dad was, but he was in aerospace in the 50s and 60s, and so he actually worked on the Apollo 11 project.
Oh, that's awesome.
But he was also on different projects, so he would go from place to place, and he would shop his talents. And my mother loved him so much, she would just go everywhere. She didn't care. So I moved like 20 times when I was a kid. And so he worked on all these great projects and all these great engineering things. And so a lot of the drawings and stuff that I do in the book are actually related to that. But so by the time I get to Limestone County, I'm an adult. I'm 900 years old. I'm older than everybody else. And the first thing they asked is, like, who are you related to? I did, because they want to know, which family are you related to? So I actually gone back in my family history and found like one Hancock way back there that moved sort of into the area like 100 years ago. And I'm like, I'm related to Alan Cannon Hancock. And they was like, oh, you. So it's like, okay, I got to come. But yeah, my family's been in Texas. I'm a seventh generation Texan. Actually, we could call it the eighth generation, because my 7 times whatever great grandfather on the Durst side came down here and actually died here in 1814. So
wow, those
insane.
Are deep roots.
Dude, yeah, kind of crazy. That's why I wrote a book, because I knew a little bit about it. So
that's
very
fantastic.
Yeah,
Well, that definitely leads us into the topic of tonight's discussion, and that is you're writing a fantastic story. You had sent a ton of artwork to me this evening that I have not quite pulled out of the DMs yet. I'm gonna have to pull all of that out of the DMs before I show it on the screen, because
I'm a little excited. I was like, okay, so you might have noticed I'm hyperactive. Probably is the word. They used to.
I got no issues with it.
They didn't do drugs or anything to help anyone. I would sleep about 3 hours a night as a kid, and I would just like go around the house and the whole time, staying up late, hallucinating, because I was like, I was always way past my bedtime, and so I have a lot of energy. So and when you say, "Oh, do you have any images?" I've drawn like 125 pictures for this series.
Oh wait, you do the artwork as well? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I do. I did that. Yeah. I draw them too. So I finally got Procreate, but actually, so I hand drew. I got so excited about the series, I hand drew 125 illustrations, and then when you said, "Hey, do you have any images?" I'm like, "Oh boy, do I!" And
you're just
yeah.
Did you get that thought in your head? You're just like, he has no idea what he just asked me.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't stop sending, because this one's really cool and that one's really cool, and I have an artist that does my work for me for the color work, because I'm a sketcher. I have that in my bio. I like to sketch. I'm not really a real artist. I don't do color.
You're like a sketch artist.
Yeah, I'm a sketch. And so my
Boondock Saints reference for anybody who gets it.
Yep.
Yeah. So my color artist is Laura R. Morris, and she does all of my covers for me, and she has this really great like Dallas downtown mural style, and so I just use her on everything else. So all the color stuff's hers. So
nice,
awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask, because you have a bunch of different things going on with this. I mean, so you have something like 6 books out with the Watcher of the Damned series, and you have some other. Do you have another series, or just another few one-off books, or am I confused?
No, actually, this is the first thing I've ever written in my life that was like a novel.
Okay.
And so it sort of grew. The story. Okay, this is one of those weird things that it's just I had a vision, and I started off with I have a really free flow type writing style, And so I had this vision of a man at a gate in chains, and I started writing, and the whole story came to the beginning, the end, everything. And I was like, I gotta write this story. And so I did. And so I started writing. I've written all my life. I've written poetry. I've written other things. I love Trippy because he does poetry. Thank you, Trippy. And
shout out to Trippy.
I know, my tree. I've Substack, y'all. And so I've written poetry all my life, and I've written a lot of other things. I did do a little investigative journalism from time to time under a nom de plume because I don't want to die a death. In addition to other things, I also founded a private investigative agency. So,
yeah.
You found a private. Ladies and gentlemen, don't piss her off.
No, yeah, I was going to say.
Lying. They think I'm lying about my life. Here's what I do. I'm not the one that actually does all the stuff I want to do. Usually I'm the talent finder. So I'll get an idea and I'll be like, so I had other people that were really great at it. And so I started an agency. So I did use that with my investigative journalism. And so I'd been writing all that kind of stuff, but I had never written fiction. I'm an avid reader. I loved Lord of the Rings. I'm huge on that. Just read all my life. I'm a Ray Bradbury fangirl. I absolutely love him so much. Yeah, Isaac Asimov. Vance is one of my favorites. Chronicles of Amber, all that kind of stuff. I just loved it. And Conan the Barbarian, I read like 17 books of his. I don't know. And Edgar Rice Burroughs. So I would plow through all this old pulpy stuff, and I would get bored because back in the days we didn't have, internet.
I want to point this out. I just want to point this out. All of the men in the chat right now are just like, wow, I don't do nearly that much. So like my life is boring compared to hers.
Well, my life is really chaotic. I'm also a preacher's wife. So
and right
so,
on.
I'll give the glory to God. I ain't gonna lie. It goes right there. And I love my church people. If my church people are there, I love you.
Well, I hope some of them are here in the chat. I hope some of them are here in the chat.
They're probably lurking. I love you anyway. I'm acting right. I promise. But yeah, so when I started, actually, I had always been involved in the fire department, everything else. We helped start some of that stuff because we needed one here at the fire departments. They did have them. I just didn't have one right here. And so we started that. And when I had a condition. I have two things going on in my life that really make it really different. And so I have a condition called fibromuscular dysplasia. Didn't know I had it until my blood pressure went up really high one time. It was like 200 and something.
Oh,
109. Wow. And it turns out that I've got like these little tendrils that wrap around everything and they grow and like they like squeeze where they aren't supposed to, and it creates this blood pressure issue. Well, you really don't want that person on scene with a fire hose in their hand because they're going to just drop dead at some point and leave you, hanging while you're out there fighting a hay bale or something. So I got really bored, and I've been doing EMT work and everything else. I got my EMT certification. After 50, I might add, by the way. So for all you babies, look at y'all. I got boots older than all y'all. I mean, like, look at you.
Hey, I'm almost 44. Come on.
I'm serious. I've got a blouse in there that's like from the day you were born or something.
Probably.
So,
hey, 79 was a good year for fashion.
That's right. I'm really sick that year, actually. I had so I actually had gotten so bored being sick because I had to put my feet up a lot. And every time the blood pressure got up, so I was like, I'm so bored. I'm going to die. And then I was like, so I started looking at, different things. And I play a bunch of Fallout and things like that because I love video games.
Okay.
My family's really weird that way. And all the women in my family were gamers. I don't know how that happened. My mom was like 80 years old. She was doing all the Super Mario. No warps, nothing, man. Just like plowing through and going through the whole thing. And it was great. It was like the day they finally got, Mario over the end, and like you got through everything. We had a celebration because it took like a year. So I got so bored. I was like on Fallout 3 on bullet sponge mode where I'd done it like, I'd conquered Alaska like 3 times or something. And I was like, I'm so sick of this. And I had this vision of this book. And it's like the first time I'd ever sat down and just wrote something like that. And it was like, when it came to me, it just came to me like a thunderclap. And I'm like, I have to write this book. It felt like a holy journey. I don't want somebody to start tripping on me. I'm not trying to say something weird, but I felt like I had to write it. And so I took it on as a quest that I was going to do this thing. And so, and it happened, and it was just amazing to watch it, because I'm the kind of person that, you set me down and ask me to do something long-winded, and usually I can't. If I don't crochet like those big old, like Afghans or whatever. I crochet. It's like a little, here you go, the end. So, I'm just, and I've got more to go, so I've got to be good. I've got to actually get it all done. But I hope that answered the question, whatever that question was. Yeah, how did I write the story? There you go. There it was. Boom.
Oh, God.
Powerfully, passionately, and chaotically.
I love it. You are everything my co-hosts tell me not to be every week. And it makes me that's freaking happy.
You're everything we hate in life.
I love it.
Like a Duke Nukem episode or something.
Oh, it's great.
No, it's awesome.
Great.
I have a ton of questions for you. Let's see here. The first thing I guess I was going to ask, because I have not gotten through what is it, transmutation?
Yeah,
what is
the fact that you're even reading it? Look at you! I love you right now. Let me thank you. Too many people.
Hey, no problem. I'm enjoying it. It's really interesting world. And I actually did think a little bit about Fallout. I was kind of like Fallout meets Weird West meets. I wasn't. I haven't. I don't know. I'm trying to think of where I'm at, but it's still fairly early on.
Yeah.
So, what were all your different inspirations? You obviously mentioned Fallout, which that definitely came through.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're talking about Conan, and I mean, what were some of your sources for some of the more Western aspects? Was it just sort of Texas lore? Because
one of the things they tell us that we should write what we know, and it's really hard to do that if you're writing science fiction. So somebody said, "How are you stay in your lane and write about another world?" And so one of the things I really wanted to do is I love Texas anyway, and I would get hacked off. I was like, "Why don't they bring Fallout to Texas? Why don't they bring it to Texas?" They went to West Virginia. Good on y'all. I love West Virginia, huh? But I was like, nothing. I don't know why, but it's not something we think of usually with Texas. And there have been some great things. L. Neil Smith, one of the great Prometheus Award writers, he wrote Planet Texas. Roswell, Texas is a comic that he did. I love comics too. I wasn't allowed to. wasn't allowed to read comics when I was a kid, and I did. I was sneaking and do it. So I read that, and I was like, that I wanted. There are so many things going on in the world, and my brain has a tendency to kind of explode with ideas. And what if scenarios come to me? And actually, one of the influences that I don't talk about very often is my work with emergency management. And so when you're playing Fallout and stuff, one of the things is that if you're working with emergency management or with emergency situations, you're always thinking, what would happen if we had a situation like that? If a plane came down over here, or we had an earthquake, or we had a tornado, because that happens a lot. And so you think about those things, and it got to think, what if Fallout was like in Limestone County, and what would it look like? What would happen? And of course, this is a different situation. And Watcher of the Damned, we have a world that's actually left fairly untouched. It's humanity that's absolutely ravaged. Of course, it's like Life After Humans. I loved Life After Humans. I think it's a great series. And I love, because my father was an engineer, we often talked about engineering and how things fail. We talk a lot about point of failure and what happens when something goes terribly wrong with a piece of equipment. And so just bringing all of that together, and then reading all of these pulp and comics and everything, those stories. And of course, we have, I have to go back to Joseph Campbell's Here with a Thousand Faces. Actually, Jordan Peterson's Maps of Meaning. When you put those two things together and you see this arc of humanity, the coolest part about being old, I hate to say this, really, it's kind of awesome, but the coolest part about being old, besides trying to die off, is the fact that you get to have already lived long enough to read all this, to actually do all this stuff. If you stay alive long enough, you actually get to know some of this cool stuff. So I got to read all of these things. I got to read these fantastic worlds. Howard is such an incredible writer. If you've ever read his stuff, he is a Western writer. He's a pulp writer. He's a Western writer. and his westerns are some of the funniest stuff. Shout out to Edwin and his people over there, and where they do the readings. Dang it, it's Middle Earth Storytime, and they were reading some.
Oh yeah.
Yes, they were reading some of his Howard's westerns, and it was just such a hoot. And I remembered reading them as a kid, and his language. He wasn't afraid to make a character be serious and funny at the same time, and I can't describe how he did it. And so there was a lot of humor there, and just the fact that those westerns that really plugged it in is like, what if Conan, that part of Howard, if Conan met his characters from the West. And I really didn't think about it at the time when I'm writing my story. I don't think, hey, I wonder if this would be cool. It just, it sort of happens. But the influence is definitely there. So I would say probably the bigger influences are Tolkien, Howard, and I would say Vance. I think that when you're looking at The World's End, that section of his work, and I don't have it right now in front of me. I have a whole list of these books that I was like, every time I'll do it, I'll forget, like right in the middle of what I'm talking about, and I'll forget the person's name, and I'm afraid to say it for like forever. I'll be wrong. Yeah. You know, but those writers and the early pulp writers really influenced me in that writing style. And the other writer that's actually a huge influence, I'll say there's two of them, and they don't seem to fit into this, but they do. There's three: Robert Louis Stevenson, Jules Verne, and Mark Twain. And because of their style, there's a very picaresque style. And somebody else said it's picaresque. And I hadn't thought about that people don't really often in books nowadays go on a journey with the characters. We do it in the lit RPG. We do it because that's what it's all about. But that part of where you go on a journey with the characters, and it's almost this minute by minute point where you're like, hey, how do you get from point A to point B? Because there's all these challenges. And writing that type of story to where you're just going on this journey with these characters and the things they want and how they want to get there, those influences from those writers moved forward. So you've got this really weird amalgamation of very old language. I would say, I think that's one of the things. I don't know if it's a challenge. And I've only had one person ask me, do you really think your readers can read this? And I said, yes. I don't think there's an issue with this. There are people that are like, well, you should make it very simple and you shouldn't use big.
No.
and
I agree. Don't make it simple at all. I 100% agree about that. I think that that we've degraded language to a point where the finesse and the beauty of language is almost robbed to the modern generations.
This actually comes up when we're looking at, if you look at writer Twitter, you'll see it a lot. Don't use adverbs. Don't use adjectives.
Yeah.
Describing.
There's a lot of rules out there.
There's a lot of rules out there, and they never existed before. Yes, there are people that want you to write a certain way for a certain style. That's awesome. There's never been somebody who ever in the past, I'm this many years old, I never had somebody say, you can't write that way. All of a sudden, I have people saying, you can't write that way. You know why? Because y'all want GPT to do it. And they want Chat GPT to learn from our writing, and you have to simplify it in order to get them to learn it. As a result, my answer is no. Get your own. If you want something special, write it yourself. And I love that AI is doing what it is. I have a lot of AI in my book, actually. As you get further, the series, as you get further, you learn that there's AI still embedded in this world because tech never really truly dies. Power, the search for power, the search for tyranny, the ability to be able to make other people do what you want them to do, and people who are willing to fight back never goes away. But when we look at AI and how it learns from us, we have to make a stand and say, I'm human. I'm going to write the way I want. If you want your AI to learn to do that, then your AI needs to learn. But don't ask me to simplify myself so you can do a project on the side so your AI can learn from me. That's fine. And I do think that's part of the issue. All of a sudden, I've heard everybody, oh, you can't do these things. You can't have a style. You can't use this word. You can't describe a scene. Why would we not do that? We literally are saying to people, and I hear we are saying that we need to describe things for those who are sight impaired. But you don't want me to describe in my story what this thing looks like, or how this person acts, or what their eyes are shining like, or taking a breath. My people take a breath all the freaking time. Y'all go ahead and do it.
One of the best scenes I think that I remember from a book that and it's probably one of the best scenes that I've read, and I've not read a lot, but It was from, and admittedly, there's controversy around the book, but it was Manhunt, the 12-day hunt to find Lincoln's killer.
Oh, yes. I read.
Okay, so then you'll know the scene that I'm describing. There is a scene where, and I cannot remember who it is, but there was a scene where John Wilkes Booth is traveling with somebody and he's trying to get him out of town, and they get to a roadside on the edge of, I believe, one of the northern counties, and they're hutched down next to the roadside. And the way that scene was described, and they can hear the patrols, going by. They can hear the horses. They were talking about their breath in the air. You know the scene too. And it was, and I read that. I will say this. I've only had 2 books in my life draw me in to where I forgot that I was reading. And it is Jack London's Call of the Wild when I was a kid, and Abraham and Manhunt, the 12-day hunt to find Lincoln's killer. But in that scene, they describe hutching down. He describes the pain in his leg that's broken at the time, and how they have to be quiet, and they could hear their breath and the soft wind in the air blowing the tall grass as they could hear the men talking with each other as they were patrolling, trying obviously to find Lincoln's killer. And you don't see a lot of writing like that anymore. You don't get that descriptive pull you into the scene and make it like, when I read that scene, I could feel physically the chill of the air they were talking about in that scene. That's how into that moment I was in the book. And you don't see a lot of that anymore. You really don't get that descriptive pull you into the world writing anymore. And I'm really, really glad that you just put a beacon on that. You shine a light on that, because I think that that's something that a lot of writers should really look into.
Well, it's
one of the most common things I say when I edit books is you missed a golden opportunity for being descriptive.
Mm-hmm.
It happens with almost every manuscript I read over.
I think that you're right. One of the reasons why we say, "Oh, you're not supposed to write the way," and we have multiple media. And multiple media each has its own beauty, its own joy. Movies, making something happen in 2 hours is actually an extraordinary feat. One of my favorite movies, of course, besides I saw, first time I saw Star Wars in the theater when it was released. No expectations, no idea what to walk into. I'm a lifelong fan, a lifelong broken-hearted fan. There's A New Hope and the other 2, and then there's like Forget You. And I went there, and when you have those books and those descriptions, we think of how would this look as a movie, or we talk about how is it going to fit in as a story on the screen. How can we turn it into a screen written play or whatever? Those are each their own mediums. If we write everything as if we want to see it as a movie, you will never be able to write a novel, because a novel is its own beauty. And there's other things that drive my need for me to describe what I've seen and what I've smelled and what I've heard. We have a lot of different feelings and emotions and senses in each scene. One of the reasons I do that is because I'm going blind. I, as an artist, as a writer, I'm losing my eyesight. I have macular degeneration. I have I've advanced. I have cataracts bad enough right now that I'm almost legally blind at this point. Drawing for me is an adventure, because I have to really get down on top of it and work on it. And I'm racing to get this series done, and it will be done. I will have it done. I've already got the arc written. It's 60,000 long. I describe things like I want to be able to see it again when I lose my sight, when I'm in the darkness, and I write that story, and I talk about how the sunlight was playing off and bouncing back toward the sun off of the leaves of the bluegrass stems as they were waving in the wind. I want to see it again in my mind. And when they tell me, write this or do this, describe this for a person who's blind, I am describing it for future me, so I can revisit the places I've loved and the things I've written and know what it smells like and feels like and tastes like. When I can no longer leave this room, I will be able to see it and feel it and taste it through that writing. And that's the beauty and the majesty of language. And it can only be captured if you are willing to use the language. And when we are afraid to speak, as we have been taught to speak, when we are afraid to use the words that have created worlds for us for millennia, then we are never going to be able to grasp what it means to describe an object. we cannot describe if we are denied the words. Adverbs have a reason. Adjectives, we need to use them. Do not let your language be overwritten by people who want to control it for whatever reason.
I just had a rant about that.
I
know. Well said.
I think that I heard somewhere that somebody basically, I'm trying to figure out where I got this quote from, but the amateurs almost always have more rules than pros. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or amateurs think that there's a lot more set in stone rules than pros. And
we overcomplicate everything.
We do.
Well, yeah. And so it's a tendency of basically every discipline to say, well, you must do things this way whenever you're just starting to get into them. And then the farther out you get from that point of self-assurance, the more unsure you are about the absolute laws of things. And I think that's definitely very true with writing as well, of course. So,
I think one of the things that causes that is, especially as an amateur who is, you're writing, you want that thing that you write to reach people. And I think a lot of people get trapped in the idea of, I know I did, when I was, in my music. And one of the things you look at is, what did these guys do? How did they do it to get where they're at? And you ascribe these rules to yourself. And then you get obviously some professor who's probably never written a book in his life other than, the book of like, oh, what the pros did to, and they give lectures on that. And you build these crap arguments around what, the fantastic writers of the generations have used to do, and the fact of the matter is they didn't. They sat down, they knew how to put words together fairly well and in a way that spoke to a lot of people of the time. And it wasn't like they were masters of language. They weren't following any rules. They were putting words to the page, and some of them put words to the page for many years before anybody saw them. And that's something that I think that a lot of people, although I think looking back and figuring out where we might have gone wrong in society and things like that, learning from the past, I think setting up too many rules for the creative endeavors is absolutely the wrong way to go. Just 100%. It's not, you can't do it. You have to use your own voice, and you just be damned with the rules. And all the people that you see that are just wildly successful, they just throw the rules to the side and say, I just did what I wanted to do. Everybody said, this is how you do it. And I said, no, it's not how I do it. I do it this way. And that's exactly what people should be doing.
Little bit.
Well, I think that there's a point. There's, of course, some discussion to be had about, looking to what was successful. You don't want to have to go back and reinvent the wheel every time, of course.
Yeah.
But
throwing the rules that, I'm not saying, stop using periods to end a sentence.
Well, what I'm saying is that there's a clear difference between that. One of the things I think that has been a frustration I've seen with some of the people in the indie space is that this attitude of, well, we don't need to, we just need to go back to a certain time, or we need to go back and emulate a particular author from, or a particular artist or something from some golden era in the past. And, you can never, but two things. First of all, those people didn't get where they were by imitating somebody else, by and large. And things are different. You're never going to be able to bottle lightning and say, well, this is how you do it now. You know what I mean? And it robs like you guys were saying, robs the entire creative process. So I think it's awesome that you have such a deep or broad range of things that you pull from. And,
agreed.
Turn it in a very interesting and new way, and blend it with newer, more recent inspirations as well.
Well, it's important for us. Yes, we want to have, there's a framework. Larry Correa talked about it the other day. In case you missed it, there was a big Twitter war on the fight.
Oh, no.
I heard about, no, I am completely unaware, actually. I had some people mention it to me, and I'm like, I don't even know who this person is.
You're not a writer and like really so much in the Twitter sphere.
I know. I'm a pleb. I get it. You can just you don't have to be that mean.
No, it's not that. It's just you're going to be exposed to it as much as the rest of us were.
Well, it's to quote the old right brain, left brain thing, and so I was a teacher also. I taught pre-kindergarten, so yay, and so I'll teach it like I would teach you. We have two processes going on. You have creation, and you have the process of giving it to someone else. The interpretation, that emulation, where you actually are able to synthesize it and put it on paper. Creation should be allowed to be itself. You cannot just go in and just corral it and say it's going to be done this way. You destroy children when you tell them you can only color between the lines, that you can paint this way or write this way or do these things. Creation is done out of the love of creation. And singing. So many people have never sung because you were talking about being a musician. Also, my brother's Wayne Hancock, Wayne the Train Hancock. A lot of people don't know him. Some people do. If you're into the indie music scene from the 1990s onward in Austin, Texas, they know Wayne Hancock. And I've sung with him. I'm also a musician on the church side. And so when you're doing music, if you tell children, don't sing that way, you're not singing it right. You need to sing it this way. They will never sing again. However, when you're trying to get into a choir and you're saying, we want to sing this way, we want it to sound a certain way. There has to be a certain harmony there. You have to hit that tone right or it's going to be out of tune. How do you put these two things together? Well, you make them they are separate processes. Creation for the joy of creation, singing for the joy of singing, just writing or painting or doing something because you just want to do it, needs to be its own thing. You literally should create, allow it to be there, look at it, and then you say, I want someone to see this, or I want someone to hear this. What do I need to do to reach that audience, to reach those people? And then you start saying, well, they have some of these things that they do. They're together. I'm going to be with these people. And then you start hanging around. Now that group think helps you create that rule of what do we want this to sound like. But choirs sound different. You have choirs from different parts of the world where you're doing it in quarter tones. They're not out of tune because they're in a quarter tone. So you don't make a rule for it. You find the place where your creation fits, and you start to find a way to put it into that forum. Don't try to make it fit where it doesn't need to go. That's just going to crush your creation and it won't fit with that audience. Instead, you create it. Do your best job. Go with people that love what you have, and then craft that art. So it's two different processes. The creation is like giving birth to a child, and the putting it out there as a writer or as an artist or somebody else to say, I want this for other people to see it, is that education of that child. Both of them are necessary. They're both beautiful. They come together and they create the whole human. So
and that's
our work.
That's something that I'm teaching my kids, is that you have to, my kids say, well, I'm really good at this. I'm like, yeah. And you have to hone it. You have to sharpen it like a sword. You might be really, really good at getting at doing this thing that you're doing. But if you want to be really good at, and I mean really good, like the best at it, you have to want that. You have to want to hone that skill and, do something beyond just the passion of it while still maintaining the passion for it, and it's something that I'm trying. And I say try because that's all every parent ever does, like we can say, well, no, we're totally doing this with our, we'll find out. Right. Cause one day they'll be in the world and you're going to, I do. Right. Yeah. It's nope. And my little girl, she turns 11 tomorrow. I say my little girl, she's my oldest and she's 11 and she's already looking like a young woman. And that just pisses me off. But
been there.
Oh man. She's so headstrong and there are things that she loves and things that she is just passionate about and she's driven. She just has that attitude that, this thing gets in front of her and she's going to go through it. She doesn't care how hard it is, any of that, and she'll talk about how oh, Dad, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I'm like, well, no, you're really you're good at it, sweetheart. I was like, but you're not the best, not yet. And she doesn't like hearing she's not the best. She's
Nobody
out
does.
of the 4 kids I have, she's that one, right? She don't like hearing she's not the best. But I say, but if you want to be the best, take that passion and learn how to do it. And I don't think that is being preached to our young generations, or hell, even my generation, which is just the millennials. I don't think that was driven into them in that way, the way that it was for prior generations. I miss seeing it, and it's refreshing to hear it.
Prior generations have the same problem. Ask anybody about the books they were expected to read in school and whether or not it affected their joy of reading.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I was saying. I said, never read because you think you have to. If you do that, hate it. You're going to hate every minute of it. Have you ever had something you're going, I really love this book. Then you go, geez, I got to get it done by this time because I have an interview or I have to write a report. And all the joy is taken out of it. And now there are different people in the world. So let's talk about that for just a minute. We have people who are that athlete class or the world class. They are driven to do everything better each time. That is part of their process. They like to see it sharpened like the blade. And they are that person. You want that person to be the one that is pursuing that goal of perfection, because that person becomes better every time that stone hits the edge of the blade. They become sharper. They become more aware. And you have other people that aren't a blade. They're a spoon or a fork or something else. They have their own beauty, but they love just being able to enjoy their life. And they have things they do. They should do those things. One of the worst things you can do to a person who is non-competitive is to shove them out there and go, you're going to do this or you're never going to eat again. You're going to hit that home run or you're not coming home, son. There's the joy is lost. Like you said, with reading, with playing ball, with playing piano, whatever. Finding where that person fits in and saying, you have a place in society. But don't expect to go and be the sharpest blade then. You're not a blade. You don't have to be one, but don't ask the blade to not be itself either.
Right.
We have gotten how to allow people to be themselves. And it's very difficult because we each see ourselves as the microcosm of all humanity. We think everybody is exactly like us. What works for me might not work for somebody else. And we make this mistake with children frequently. We want them all to act and sit and do exactly alike. Now, this is damaging. It's still happening. It's just happening the opposite way. Now we have them where you're all going to act exactly the same. Nobody will have any standards, but everybody must speak exactly the same. And everybody must do what I tell them to do and think as I tell them to do, or they're not going to be able to be functional in our society. Those kind of thoughts, when you're that critical of it, when you're that pushy, where everybody must conform. There was a conformity to it in the 60s too. Let me tell you something. If you didn't say do the right things, I'm talking here about the culture. The hippie culture was that way a lot. You would actually odd fights come out where people were literally, cutthroat, burning down a place because they didn't like what somebody did over there. Those people in that building didn't do that. You set the ROTC building on fire because of something that's happening overseas. These kids are just going to school. Quit. There was that push to conform, to make everybody just alike, to make them just like me. It's very human. It's very common, and we have a tendency through our own successes. But we cannot keep demanding that the very best of the blades become a spoon. Can't keep doing that. We can't keep allowing a spoon to be picked up out of the drawer and go, okay, I'm going to be better than the blade, put me over here. It doesn't work that way. Be ourselves. Be what you love. Love what you do, and keep doing it. Find out what you fit into, and being that person, being, like you said, crafting that part of it, what you love, getting better and better at it. It's the difference between hobby and a passion.
Right.
People have a hobby. It's just what they do for fun. I play Minecraft for fun. There are people who play Minecraft because they're out there to, I don't know, they have, streaming everything, and they do this incredible worlds and stuff. I just go boop, boop until the creeper blows me up. I'm fine. and I do it just because it helps my brain relax. That's a hobby. That's something I do for fun. But when I'm writing, I have to try to write at the very best I can write. Now, the difference between writing to a conformist level, who's telling me these rules and why? Learning to write so somebody can read it to understand that the sentence ended here. This is important. These are things that we have out there. Nothing chaps me off so bad as having somebody tell me to stop doing the freaking double space after my period. I am sorry. I typed on a real typewriter, and I do not care. I like seeing the double space because now that I'm losing my eyesight, I can differentiate it better. And
yeah.
They'll do it. But those rules, who's making these rules and why? Well, there are rules that help us read and help us connect with each other. And then there are rules that are just made up because some jerk wants to be a little, martinet about things and tell people what to do. And not going to do it. Because one of the best writing books I've ever read is by Ray Bradbury. It's The Zen of Writing. Zen and the Art of Writing. And I can look it back up. I'll have to pull it up on my thing. But Ray Bradbury wrote this book on writing. And I know people love Stephen King's things. They emulate him frequently. But Ray Bradbury had such a free flow of consciousness about it. Literally, here is a man who wrote just astounding works. Every writer that has done their very best wrote from their own perspective, allowed themselves to write, had their body of work, and they did it Art Heinlein wrote to actually sell books, and he was excellent at it. He went out there and he has his own set of rules, and I love his rules because it makes me sit down and write. But you write your best. Do your best, and you write in that style that you love, and you look at it and you go, can this be better? But you let that flow of writing come out, and the way he described the process, and I read it when I was like 11 years old, the flow of writing and the process of writing is so different for every person. Technical writers, and Herman knows this because he writes technical manuals also. Yep. My father wrote technical manuals because he was an engineer. The beauty of the precision of language in writing a technical manual is so different than it is for a person who's writing a novel. We don't want those same rules for everybody, and we don't want to ask that technical writer to write like C.S. Lewis if that's not what they do. And it's unfortunate that we see that push now. Everybody must write exactly the same, and we're going to write these things in this style, and this is the way they're writing now, or like you said, you have to write in this style from the past. If you want to be that person, you have to write if you want to be that person who writes that great thing, that great next thing, you have to write your story. You have to write your thing. You cannot go and write Mark Twain's work again. If I want to read Mark Twain, I want to read Mark Twain. If I want to read Tolkien, I'm going to read Tolkien. I want to read you. I want to 100%. Read. And that's a window into your mind. The beauty of the written language is that we can enter the mind of a person who's been dead for thousands of years. I love mythology. I love the mythos, and I love reading it in the original translations from Herodotus and others. The Book of the Dead by Wallace Budge and other things. Anything I've read some in the original language. It's really hard. I'm not that great at reading things, in different languages, but I still try. Those works, each one of them, as we come forward throughout the ages, I can see into the mind of a human that's been dead for 1,000 years. When I'm reading Marlowe, I'm reading words from people that existed in the Middle Ages. I want to read your words. When we read Emily Dickinson, this woman never saw any of her things hit the light of day. We would not have it had she had sat down and said, I have to write a poem the way somebody told me to. She wrote a body of work that's so profound and so incredibly influential, and it would not have happened if she had been doing it to try to fit somebody else's mold. Do not rob other people in the future of who you are now and of the greatness of your stories and your works just because you want to fit what somebody on Twitter told you to do.
Yeah.
They will lose you. And you don't know who's going to be reading your works in the future. You don't know that 100 years from now, somebody picks up your book and goes, this orc erotica is the best erotica that we've ever and it changed the world forever.
Don't give the chat any ideas. Don't give the chat ideas. That's a bad idea. But it's my wife and I. My wife and I. We talk about this. My wife and I. We are definitely not the traditional parents. And my kids are the weird kids. My kids get to see and do things and no, damn it, Richard. No, just you, sir. But my kids are the weird kids, right? Like when it's so funny. It's like, so my daughters, they love pet rats, right? and they're all about their pet rats. Oh yeah, I know. I told my wife she's not allowed to talk to you because she already brings home too many damn animals. So I told my wife, I was like, you're not allowed to talk to her at all because I swear if you talk to my wife and she starts bringing home animals, I have to ban you from the channel. I would have to. Huh?
I have baby goats.
Oh, I know. Oh, trust me. She was trying to get me to bring one of those home the other day too. But I don't. Anyway, but my kids are but my kids do, they're into all the creepypasta stuff. The kids are, they'll hear that like that because my kids are homeschooled, right? And they're like, they have some public school friends and they're like, oh, we're so weird. And they'll say something that they're weird about. And they're like, oh, but do you like this? And the kids are like, no, that's creepy. And and my kids are like, oh, huh. Well, you said you liked weird stuff. And I look at that and my wife and we are so freaking happy. I love having the weird kids. I feed into it. I'm like, no, don't buy into their BS. Don't become normal. Don't do, just do you, but just make sure you're kind to other people. That's the only thing that I draw the line on, right? Never be unnecessarily, mean towards people. Just be kind, but just be you. And man, and I love, and my kids are the cool kids, my kids are they're the weird cool kids. Like everybody's like, oh my gosh, like you guys get to do this stuff, you get to do that stuff, and they're the homeschool kids too, which is funny. But I love it because my wife and I, we have everything that you're talking about with making sure that you're an individual, with making sure that you're not conforming to this. My wife and I talk about daily how we're going to raise our kids, what we're going to do, what we're going to teach them, what we're going to show them, how we make sure that the passions in life and the things that they have that make them are the things that shine through, and they don't just become cogs in this horrible machine that's been built over the last 150 years. And I love hearing that the passion is still out there for thinking like that. It shows me that I'm not the pariah in this world that I thought I was. And it's every so often you gotta have friends, right?
Yeah. You are absolutely on point. So actually I taught school. I also homeschooled. I have 2 children. I had others I miscarried, but I had 2 children that are 14 years apart. So I'm the queen of the sibling age gap, otherwise known as sad. And I had my daughter when I was got pregnant with her when I was 21. I had my son when I was 36, and so 35. Sorry, 35. My daughter, military. From the moment she was a kid, everything very organized, very passionate, sings opera, extraordinary in the honing of her skill, does the public school track, but I was behind her the whole way. And everything she did, we would do it together. We would go through teaching her. And she's one of the biggest people that she will always ask a question. Critical thinking skills, absolutely to the max. And this very regimented person who would turn her desk to the wall to learn while everybody else was going crazy in the classroom. My son, the artist, the writer, actually, and the one that actually is honors, graduated with honors from a major university, was homeschooled from the very beginning because everyone needs something different. And I loved homeschooling because we want to tell children, you have to ask questions. Ask questions. Ask me if you want to know why I'm doing something. I never had this thing, do it because I told you. Do it just because I said, it is easy to fall into that. It really is.
Oh yeah.
Super easy because you get tired of it. But listen, love me. I love you. There's one thing you always know. I love you forever. I will always be here. We're helping each other. One of these days, you're going to be helping me. I won't be able to do this on my own. If I love you, I will be trusting you at that point. Trust me now. Trust me now. We'll talk about it. And there will always be mistakes along the way. It doesn't matter what you do. But when we educate people, that's the act of creation. Is not just the having the child, them coming out. When you help another person to grow as a human being, this is creation. And what you are seeing, what you and your wife are seeing, is the greatest creation of, better than literature, art, anything else, the human being in front of you. And we can do that not just with our own children, but with other people and other children as well. When you act as the person that says, I want you to discover who you are, I want you to become what you are creating a human that is a greater work of art than anything else in the world, because the human is the greatest creation. And I firmly believe this, that if we treat our books and our art and our writing and our passions with that same tenderness as you treat a child. What does this need? If you are an artist, then look at what that art needs and let it be itself. Put it in a place where it thrives. Don't try to make it conform to a particular thing, but find where it does work. And if you're not painting the Mona Lisa, don't expect somebody to call it the Mona Lisa. It's what it is. It's it's going to be, it's that if it gives you joy and you love what you've done, then that's a great thing. But it's that balance between saying I love what you are as you are, and then looking over and saying, but you can do more. You can do more. So every child or a book or a work of art or a miniature that you're painting or a tabletop game that you're writing, that's your creation. Help it grow. Let it be where it can thrive and be everything it can be. And don't try to fit it into somebody else's box just because they say it's supposed to be that way.
Now, speaking of, I'm going to cut in real quick because I have a question for you. And you mentioned tabletop gaming. And I wanted to catch that before you kept going and sailed right past me. But
Richard,
I was looking into. Well, I
So
mean,
many things have failed past.
it's like we're used to much slower paced guests. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, dude, I'm having a blast.
Here.
I don't give a damn.
Yeah, I know.
I'll have her back every week. I
Yeah, I was
will
gonna say,
replace
you're
you
gonna
two
replace
with
both
her.
of us? Yeah,
Yes.
I know. Yeah,
That's not even like I
it'd be
love
an
it.
improvement.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. Their little faces.
No, but I was going to ask. I was looking into you a little bit this week to make sure I knew what I should know about you before you came on, and I saw that you have some. Let's see here. Hold on. Where was it? The tabletop RPGs out through Big Geek Emporium, and so I wanted to talk to you about that because I was like, I had no idea that you did that as well, and tell me about it.
Okay, well, so there's this thing called My Life, and so back in the so you talked about the weird kids. So I was a weird kid. I actually I guess before we had geeks and really nerds. I was there before the movie The Nerds. That should tell you something. I was a word girl. I was always I still wore a dress. Everybody else was like in a rat pink t-shirt and a pair of torn out jeans, and I was like wearing a dress because I looked like my grandmother dressed me. I always wore ultra femme stuff, and at the same time I would have like that one ponytail right out the top of your head and then two more over here. And it's kind of like Wednesday Addams in pink is the best way I can describe it. So I was really bizarre, and I was a total science nerd, and I loved Star Wars, Star Trek, all of that. Such a strange person. And so I was really deep into that culture. I learned how to play the Star Wars theme, actually the whole thing all the way through by ear, composing it on the piano so I could just hear it anytime I wanted to. So I was that much of a geek. And everybody knew how freaking weird I was. My actual other name was Weirdo. And so I was a pretty strange kid. And so growing up was a little bit difficult. And so I finally found somebody that would kind of date me, which was great. And so he had the original series for D&D. And so fast forward, I go through my ending of high school, college, the marriage, the birth of my daughter, and all the way to the divorce through the next 10 years, playing tabletop games every weekend because I was so.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And so all this time I was playing, and wasn't really a great DM. Here's the thing. So I get through probably second. I think version 3 had finally came out while I was, still playing. Well, during the divorce, I lost all the books because he got them for his. I was nice, and so I was like, and it was all of our friends that we played with. And I was like, I just can't do this anymore. So I literally step into a time capsule in 1990. I disappear from the scene. I start playing in 1978. I disappear from the scene. So fast forward into 2020. COVID's going on, and suddenly there's D&D online, and I got involved with Chester Busby's group, and he had tabletop gaming, and Bill, great DM, that they were doing a little couple adventures. I thought, this is really fun. I really love tabletop gaming. I should probably write this in. I wrote the book as if it was an adventure. That was one of the things. I wanted it to feel like adventure. And I love the fact that you're doing basically a dungeon. You're walking through, and there's an encounter. There's something that happens, and that's part of that video game influence too. And I've also played Zork and a lot of other fun game, the old school game styles. And so I was like, oh, this would be fun. I'll just go ahead and, throw in a tabletop game with it. So I did. But I didn't, I'd help. This is Jonathan Harden, as you see, his name's on there. I'm giving him total credit. Great guy. He's with Sojourners Awake and has a Substack out there. If you can, pop that up for me, or if you can find it. I think I've got it on my stuff, but if I don't, I'll send it to you afterwards and we can add it in the afterwards.
If you drop it in the private chat, I will get it up there.
I'll have to hop off of here to get it. I'll see if I can pull it up on my thing.
Give me a second. I'll see if I can't find it.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to find out if he's Sojourners Awake with Jonathan Harden. And so I knew I wasn't good enough to write my own tabletop. I have written tabletop games. I've actually done it with like paper and a grid sheet. Like, I didn't even have the hex. I was like, that broke. I just had the four squares to an inch. And so I would do that, but I was like, I know I'm not going to afford. Man, how things have changed. Oh my gosh, it wasn't just the rules, because there's 10 million different ways to play everything. Pathfinder in the past. I think I played some of the Wild West games. There was a couple of quick draw games we had back in the days that were actually really fun to play. And I was like, holy cow, this has changed so much. There's so many different rules now. There's so many different ways to do it. And we were just starting to see this huge controversy brewing up over tabletop gaming. I was like, what? I want this to be an adventure. So we actually wrote it as a 3D6. So that way we wouldn't have to be dinged by D&D or whatever. And thank God, because now I don't have to worry about that part of it with the OGL and everything. So I just did it as a lark kind of. And actually I've talked to Jonathan, and we're going to have, so the thing that we're doing with the tabletop gaming end of it, and this is, I've got the World Guide is Purgatory Papers, and actually is written into the book. So if you get the book, it's really meta. It's actually, these are all my notes for my characters. I did all the illustrations, everything, all the notes I had for each character. And so when so when I did that, I was like, this would be really great. I should do a monster manual too. So we're going to be doing a monster manual. We're going to do at least 5 in this series for System and Star that we're doing. So we're going to have 5 of these. This is the first module. It's the first one, so be kind. But Jonathan did a fantastic job with it. And I've got an arc for that, and we'll have at least 5. But we also want to just have an open world where people can go out and explore that world at that point in time in the story. And as the story moves forward, we're going to be making the monster manual that goes with the series, because the series does have its own set of monsters, chupacabras, other cryptids that are from Texas folklore and folklore from around the United States. And so we wanted to work that in. Then we are going to, the series actually is 3 series long. It's the books is Watcher the Damned Watcher, Watcher the Damned Wanderer, which is the second series. I'm already 2 books into it now. And the third series, which is going to be Watcher the Damned Warlord. But there is a 4th series, and the 4th series, Watcher of the Damned Wildlands, and it's going to be the tabletop gaming series, which just opens up the world. And it's just going to make it to where people can write their own modules, telling them how I did it with Watcher of the Damned, and how you can literally go into Google Earth and you could create a local game based on your own surroundings and go, this is how it's going to change the world around you. You could literally go down to the local strip mall or whatever, and you could have it incorporated into your world, or you could do something different, and how it would work out, and with the NPCs and the characters that you want to plug in. And so I knew that because I'm so in love with this story, I'm so invested with these characters, that if I just end the book the way in the series the way it's going to end, that I'll probably be devastated when just curl up in a corner and die. Or I can do what we go ahead and write the tabletop gaming series to go with. So we'll always be there as the open world with the characters able to move forward and do what they want to do, and for the readers and people to explore that world with their own characters in there. Because we definitely don't want a railroad. We want them to be able to explore and enjoy a world, and that's and I thought the uniqueness of the world of Watcher of the Damned, I wanted to be able to explore that more. So I'm going to be doing that actually as basically a 4th series. Will be the tabletop game. And
fantastic.
So,
that's awesome.
Thank you. That's really sweet of you to say that. We'll see if you think that play one. You'll be right. This doesn't work. I don't like your story.
I'm gonna say this. You have, and I will totally speak for the chat right now because I've been watching them, and you were definitely making some fans tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, the chat is just gushing over you right now. Oh God, yeah.
If only knew. I'm such an evil little person.
No, well, you're in good company.
Yeah, right. You're in the right place.
Yeah, no, and it's.
But I'm like a rampaging. I was like a rampaging hobbit. It's just like I was looking at myself, and I'm like a 4'11". I'm like really short.
Oh my goodness.
Cameras up here. It's all this lost area here, and I'm like, geez, I'm such a weirdo, and I can be really. I'm on fire, but this is me. It's who I am. I'm sitting here looking over because I got actually my son sitting here. He's a grown man, and he's my handler. He actually helps me. So if I need something, something's going on. I know what he's thinking. He's thinking mom drops the F-bomb from time to time, and I'm like,
have you heard me?
It's really hard. It's really hard if you were in part of it. I love watching YouTube and I like going up on Twitch and everything like that. And it is really hard. It becomes part of the language and you're like, I shouldn't be saying this word. Maybe I should give it up. And so I try. So forgive me.
Me too.
I pull back on my language because my mom, she supports the channel. She watches the stream. She tunes in when she can. And she goes, "Oh, you had such a good show. But your language, you need to watch your language." And I'm like, I'm trying. I'm, a decade in construction in the fields that I've been in. It's, I love the absolute passion that you have for life, not just storytelling, but it's something you don't see anymore, and I am thrilled to see it because there is something, and it gets to me from time to time. But everybody gets rigid in life. Everybody gets rigid. Everybody gets to that place where they don't see the spark anymore. And what's awesome, if you are really being honest, and you are 60 years old, you have a spark that most 20-year-olds couldn't hope to find today. And I think that that's why the chat is just going, "Yep, buying her books, totally a fan, subscribing to her channel," because they see a spark that they want to have, and you are right now telling them how to get it. And that is absolutely fantastic. It makes me happy. As I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, okay, that energy, and I know what that energy is because I've felt it in my life. I'm like, that energy is the energy that I can harness to be a better father, to be a better husband, to be better at this YouTube thing that I'm trying to do, to be better in the other creative adventures that I'm doing. And and like I said, you say, "Oh, well, I'm a weirdo. Oh, I'm I'm a little bit out there as a person." But the fact of the matter is, I don't think you're weird at all. I think that you have a passion, you have something to say, and you definitely have the ears of all of us right now when you're describing all of these things and the attitude that you have. And I'm not saying that you've never had those moments where you lost the spark in your life. I think everybody does. But right now, you've got it, and you're telling people how to get it, and it's awesome, and I love it.
Thank you. Well, you want to know a secret?
What's that?
Life is beautiful. Love is real. I worship love. God is love. And I believe it's real. Even in the darkness, here is the truth. Life is an adventure. Your adventure, your story, where you are right now. This is the part where the hero's struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Part where a book where it fades to black and you're like, what's going to happen to him? What's going to happen to her? Oh, this is horrible. This terrible thing happened. Let me tell you something right now. I have had a share of darkness in my life. I have dealt with death. I'm one of the people that when I was called out on scenes, I was the one that would sit with the bodies. How many I've undressed someone to prepare them for the be viewed by their loved ones because we did CPR and could not save them. Babies, people. There is darkness and evil in the world. That's why life is so much more beautiful. It is the light. It is everything that we want. And we can either say that, yes, the darkness is horrible and I'm going to succumb to it, or we can fight back and spark on to the very end, keep that flame going until the last peace is snuffed out because you cannot kill life. You cannot kill love. No matter what happens, it is still going to be there. I just have to decide that I'm going to live my life as hard and as fast and as beautiful as I can and make it better for everybody else as much as I can and live my adventure the way it is written. The author knows what he's doing. I have no doubt that there's going to be a problem ahead. I know that things are going to happen that are going to make me question whether or not somebody up there really knows what he's doing. It's still going to be a great adventure. It's going to be fantastic. In the end, when I look back on it, I'm going to say, did I live my life on Legendary? Did I actually try my very best? Did I do everything I needed to do? And did I make it better for somebody else? Because the whole point of living is, if I just live for me, if I'm all I have, then I can be the best that I can be. But if there's somebody else in the room that needs that love and needs that light and needs that encouragement, then we should do that. And we should make that better.
Very true.
Piece of time that we have on this earth actually is really short. And I've known people that only lived 2 or 3 months. Babies that shouldn't have ever lived, that shouldn't have ever made it past. I had a 20-week-old. It wasn't mine. It was a friend of mine. And that life was absolutely gorgeous to the very last moment and changed the world for the people that he knew. Never underestimate your ability to make the world a fantastic place, and never underestimate your ability to be the hero, because that's what you are. You just don't know it yet.
Very true.
And I think there are a lot of people right now that need to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that there are a lot of people right now that need to hear that. There are a lot of people that are getting caught up in the politics of the world and getting caught up with being told how hard the world is and the things that we're about to face in this world and this, that, and the other thing. And one of the things that, I've always told people is, guys, hard times are coming. Hard times are always going to come. But you know what? They're going to end. The hard times are going to be over eventually. And we need to work to build those things to make sure that after those hard times are over, we've got something there, something there for people to cling to, something there to drive people. Build it now. Don't wait until the hard times are here. Build it now, and that's one of the things that I've been telling people. And that's one of the things, because I got caught up for a lot of years and thinking, oh my gosh, the next, the end of the world's coming, and World War III and Civil War and all this crap. And I heard one of the talk show hosts I listened to, and they go, but yeah, that stuff's going to happen. It's probably going to happen. But there's going to be a world after that. And I'm going to tell you right now, that thought opened up my eyes and changed how I thought about it. I'm like, there is going to be a world after that. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Why not set things up now for that world? Why not? Why wait? Why wait to get it running then? Why not build it up now? And then, when all that crap is happening, people have something to get them through those hard times and go, but you know what? When all this is said and done and over, man, we're really going to enjoy this thing. And I freaking love it.
And what you're saying rings so true to me, because one of the things as I'm writing this book, and I said I'm fighting against 2 things. First of all, I don't want to have a stroke. I'm trying not to do that. And the second thing is I'm trying to do it before I go blind. So when you're talking about a person, really from the perspective where you're seeing me right now, there's a reason this is my desk, because this is where I stay most of the time. I'm in bed. I can't get up and do all the things I love to do once upon a time. I know I'm going to go blind at some point, probably. And I'm going to lose my eyesight. I'm still the person I am. I'm still having this adventure. The reach I have right now is because of what happened to me, not because I had everything that I ever wanted and I was living the perfect life. It was because there was hardship and there was danger ahead and there's a brand new monster on the horizon and I better fight it. Who wants to have a boring adventure? Sometimes you do. Sometimes you really do want to have that part where you're at Rivendell, that 30 pages.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, we're getting
where it's nice and peaceful and
go to Tom Bombadil's house. That is freaking great. Tom Bombadil is his own story. But the adventure lies in the challenges. The adventure lies in the twists and the turns and the heartache. How could you possibly have a tapestry without all the colors? There's darkness. It defines who we are. When you put it against the light, you stand out in stark relief suddenly. Everything about you that's the best and the worst of you shows up when you're in the middle of the fight. And you have to become everything you were ever meant to be. You're on a journey. You've got to be that person. And I know it's really hard when you're in the middle of that darkness and that depression and you feel like this is the last time. I can't go on. other people are succeeding, they're having a great day, but my boyfriend just broke up with me, and life's pretty bad, and I've got a kid on the way, and I don't know if we're gonna make it. My child's in the hospital. Whatever it is that's happening with you right now, this is your adventure. Somebody's going to fight on, fight harder, fight back, keep fighting, never surrender. That is the message, actually, of Watcher of the Damned. One of the reasons I wrote it, I imagined somebody picking it up after I was gone and saying, this is how we start the revolution. This is how we fight back. There really is a freedom in a world that doesn't want me to have it. How can we get it? How can we organize? How can we create a world where people can be free in a world that doesn't want us to be free? And when you said that part where somebody's going to pick it up afterwards, we all are going to die. It's not a terrible thing. If you believe in life after, it's a beautiful thing. That I know that I'm this eternal being that's going to reach to the skies and spread throughout all eternity, because I know where I'm going and what's going to happen. But even for those who are not sure yet, your power and your energy and who you are makes a difference. You have that ability, even in the tiny place where you are right now, with just the things that are in front of you. You have the ability to change the world with your words and your thoughts. I imagine somebody just picking up those books and going, this is how we're going to do it. Somebody can do it with you too. The things that you write, you don't know what they're going to pick up. The things that you made, the story that you told your child last night that they're going to tell to your grandchildren, and somebody's going to say it 100 years from now about what you spoke. You don't know what it is that you're going to do that's going to change the world. Never underestimate the power of you to be the one that changes history.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I operate with my books. They're out there in the world, and they're going to live far longer than I do.
Isn't that a thrill? Like, Daniel,
it is
a bunch, and so you're like, and you see it. It's like, this is somebody's going to find this. You ever pick up like one of he wrote Perry Mason, Earl Stanley Gardner. He wrote tons of books, and you just like, and it's over there in this bookshelf, and it's this little paperback, and it's all bent up and worn and everything. Do you see your own books there, Daniel? You're like, you just.
Oh yeah. Like a couple of months back, I was talking about wanting to do a spin-off of my superhero novel that involved a group of children in precocious adventures. And Royce is like, have you ever read The Boxcar Children? And I'm like, no. I was a Hardy Boys kid, a Nancy Drew kid. And he's like, you got to check out The Boxcar Children. And that's exactly what it's about. Somebody out there is going to be like 50, 100 years from now, when I'm long gone, is going to be like, have you ever read Legacy of Heroes? Or have you heard of Aes Sedai? And, it's perfect for me. Have you ever seen this Tales of Halcyon series? And I'm like, that's the eye on the prize, far beyond my visual range.
That's amazing. What about y'all? Have you ever had that feeling that that's what your books are going to be, or your writings, or your adventures, or what have you got? What do you envision for it?
I had that thought. I had that thought with my kids.
Well, yeah.
Every parent has a
thought with their kids.
But no, the thought that I had is, and man, and you see a lot of messed up things, a lot of messed up families. You meet a lot of people, and man, there are some parents that will, that when they die, their kids are, be good riddance to them. I know a lot of people like that, and because of just bad relationships and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I had this. But it's one of the reasons. It's one of the things that I really do think about, is that those small things, those little things that I can do when my kids look at their kids, and hopefully I live to see my grandchildren. But when my kids sit down with their kids and they say, oh, you know what? My dad told me this when I was little. That right there, that memory of me to maybe a little one who never gets to meet me. I had that thought. And that just lit up my world, and it makes me want to try even harder, you know? And, you know, because I there could be other stories I could pass on, and there could be other, but like my focus, because I was unfocused about it for a long time, and I about lost everything I had because I was stupid. But my focus really is being, you know, and doing my best to learn and be the best husband and father that I can. That doesn't mean that I am, but I know who that guy is, and I chase that guy every day.
Yep.
And I know, you know, I used to have that idea with the music that I would write, and I haven't picked up.
Ask that.
I did have that idea with my music that I wrote, but it pales in comparison to the thought that I have now with my kids, and it's I don't know. It just, you know, I think about could I write, you know, okay, let's say I sit down and I write a story. Would that matter to me as much as my son, as millions of people around the world reading a book or listening to my song? Does that matter as much to me as my son sitting down with his son and telling him something that I told him? And that was the thing that hit me. That was why I'm like, okay, listen to my kids, understand what they're saying, craft the response, be honest with them, tell them. And that's where I get it. That's the feeling that I have. And now, and when my kids get older, and, you know, my wife and I, we have the house, who knows, maybe it changes. Maybe I do. Maybe I write, you know, write that book or pick up the guitar again and write music again. Or maybe that's a few months down the road. I don't know yet, but I can tell you right now that that's what gives me that feeling.
Can I add on to that a little bit?
Because I have absolutely those, not. I refuse.
Yeah. I have those same thoughts. You know, my daughter's 20 now. She's an adult in most respects. She's almost a fully fledged adult, because in about 2 months she'll be of legal drinking age. And I think about that too, but I also think about, in the context of the books that I write, is that this legacy is not just me, and it's not just for some random person in the far-flung future. It's for her. Yeah. You know, she'll benefit from everything that I've created from this point until my last breath. And she'll be part of that adventure in some way. I mean, she did the artwork for Tales of Halcyon in all 3 books. Cool. She created the logo that I use, and it's even the updated format. The dragon remains the same. It's just cooler looking. And to me, I think about that and I'm like, okay, her kids will have my books and most likely my royalties.
Good job.
Her kids may have my royalties, but will have my books. So, and she'll have the stories of, your grandpa and I used to talk about this stuff all the time, and how we came up with this idea, and I helped him design this character. And, you know, it's the same thing that you were talking about. It just, I added her to the journey of me writing so that we could share the experience together. And I'm hoping that it'll continue to pass from there.
That's awesome, man. I think that having that thing that drives you, having that thing that pushes you, and I will say this, that is one of the best motivations in life to have, is having your own family. Is that, man, that energizes me and pushes me to go further than I ever thought that I could.
Yeah.
You know, and it's one of those things that really, really takes on a new meaning. And I tell people, man, until you get to that place in your life, you won't know it, but nothing else beats it.
True.
And it's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Richard's turn.
I know we're sitting here waiting for you.
Oh, well, okay. But I guess I had plenty of time. I should have been doing my homework over here.
Sir.
No, mostly, I would say probably the thing that I've always felt is that the best, like for the vanishingly large majority of people, like the most important thing you can do is be a good parent, and so that's definitely something that I've internalized as well, and that's usually what I think of. But my dreams, in the past couple of years, I've been trying to think more about legacy and long-term plans and goals and things like that. And my journey to where I am now is, not to dive way into it, but I mean, I was like very into politics for a little while because I thought politics would be a way to, affect the future, and I decided that politics was not very effective at that. Needless to say, in addition to some other,
everybody gets to that point.
It's like a treadmill. Yeah, it's basically a treadmill.
It is.
Hamster wheel, more appropriate.
Yeah, a hamster wheel. And and then I kind of got interested in things like cryptocurrency and whatnot, because I was thinking, there needs to be a way to like alter the system, or at least circumvent the existing system if you want to have any ability to change it, And I realized that there was no culture within most of the cryptocurrency world that actually valued the things that made crypto meaningful, right? So the principles of decentralization and individuality and autonomy and all these other things were like initially they were very important, but these communities, as these people as more and more people were drawn in, most of them were just your average tech bro. And nothing against your average tech bro, but they're nominally
tech
leftist.
Bros. They
don't have many thoughts. Yeah, I know, right? They don't have many thoughts about culture or anything like that. They're interested in the tech. And that's fine, but it severely eroded whatever culture was there. And so that's why I kind of got into the Iron Age media thing, and just in the past year. And now I'm like, I'm optimistic that there's enough energy in this space that I think that there's a real chance of like, I don't really think anything I write or say or do is going to resonate with somebody in the future in some deep way. But I'm just hoping that I can, build that infrastructure to let other people do that. And if I can do that, then great. You know what I mean? That's what I want. That's what I envision my legacy being, if I can.
Let's do that for just a minute, because one of the things we forget, a lot of us are creators on here, but we also have a lot of people that are who love the culture. They are not creators; they are purveyors of the culture. They are the keepers of the culture. People who compile and bring it together. And a lot of times, and we forget that we have in our society right now, we have an increasing number of people that are not only not creators necessarily, but also don't have children, or who are not able to have children anymore. There's a lot behind that right now. And in fact, one of the biggest moments in the book is when you realize this world is without children. It's without any.
Yeah, I know. That was pretty surprising whenever I grasped that.
One of the reasons why is because it's a part of my journey and part of my family is infertility and the inability to have children. And we have several women in my family that have taken that journey. But we also have a lot of young people, young men and women now, who don't seem to have that hope that they are ever going to be a parent, that they're going to even meet somebody.
Yeah.
They're so lonely in their islands, alone by themselves. And they feel like if they don't have these things, that they won't be able to succeed. And we have to go back to a period in time where we realize that there were people like that. Actually, you talk about wars, being in the middle of something. The Civil War left a generation of people who did not have that hope, because we forget that so many men died, that we had a generation of women who were, that was where the words, the old maiden aunt, came from. We don't realize that that woman was the woman who actually held the whole family together, because she was the one with room in her house. She was the one who had the culture. Those who have that time, who have that ability to not just create, but to purvey, to actually bring the culture together, to gather it together when it's orphaned and when it has nowhere else to go, and to say, you are mine now, I will bring this here. I am going to build you. I'm going to give you what you need. Some of the greatest heroes that we have in our stories are not of the person who was the family man. One of the reasons why every Disney story has dad die or mom die is because we know the parent won't allow you to go out and have this great adventure because they're growing you to be a big enough adult to survive. Mm-hmm. And so we have the people that are willing to go out on the edge. I have nothing holding me back. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to gather up these orphan books or these works of art. When you compile with Iron Age Media, when you're compiling people's thoughts and writings and you're saying, I want you to build more, grow more, that is that child. And when we have these ones out here who are listening right now, who are like, I'm alone. I'm just in this room with four walls and me. And I'm watching because I love the culture. I love reading. I love looking at the comics, finding heroes, finding a reason to be here. You're your own hero in your own story. And what you are gathering and what you are reading is part of that journey. You are the builders of a society. Society cannot have just creators. And part of
absolutely.
We talk about the fact that you have to have those who bring it together, those who build that infrastructure, those who work with their hands. My mother's family were dirt farmers. Actually, she grew up in a dirt floor shack. It's wooden walls. The snow would come in the winter. She nearly died of starvation. That was the 1930s. She loved the earth and she loved putting her hands in the dirt because you could grow food. People don't realize what an extraordinary gift it is to have the gift of being able to make a plant grow because I don't have it. Everything I touch, I just like to dust. I'm not. My daughter's the one that got it passed on to her. What you are doing right now, if you don't have that out there, you say, I don't have somebody else in my life. I don't have that family. I don't have that other person. You have you. And who you are and what you are doing right now in this moment, on this stream, in this chat, when you are interacting with each other and you're interacting with this media and this world and this culture that is unfolding right now. And we see this great chaos that's around us and we fear it because we don't know what's happening. This is the beginning of change. It's the that you have waited for. It's what people are going to be writing the books about in the future, where they go, gee, can you imagine living in that time and how scary it must have been when whatever that next big thing is that's about to happen is going to happen. That's the point where you go and they rose up and they overcome and the hero rises and the hero is almost indefinitely alone. Mm-hmm. The hero is always alone because they are free to go out there because they don't have that. Now we talk about in our cases, the world of our own, that the hero shielding the family. And we don't write that story very often. We don't talk about the one that actually saved the family from that doom, where he brought the food home and put it on the table and everybody ate, like Chinese food that night. Good job, because they would have starved without you. Thank you. Being a single mother at one point, having to put the food on the table, and it's just the drudgery of every day going in and going out and making that happen. That's a story. That's a life. It's what's happening. Now, where you are right now is what's happening to you right now. That is part of this culture, this world. That is the Iron Age. We are all going through this together. And everybody, whether it's a reader, a creator, or a compiler like Iron Age Media, whether we have those who are creating the art and making it happen, or we have the music for it. And let me say this much, Royce. I never thought that I would have any of my stuff get out there, but you'll see if you go up to my YouTube channel, you go all the way down at the bottom. There's 2 songs on there with Wayne Hancock, and I'm on it. One of them has like 14,000 views. It's been all over the world. I had no clue that it went that far. You never know what that music is going to do or how far it's going to go. I wrote garbage on my channel because I love writing music. So I wrote a whole bunch of I wrote a soundtrack for Watch of the Dam because I heard the music in my head. You don't know what's going to come after you. What you are doing right now is important. It doesn't matter what we're doing. You're doing something important. You have to believe that. And if you feel like you're being forced into a situation where you can't be fully yourself, then find a way to set yourself free. One of the things you were talking about with the politics, and I agree because I'm a very political person in many ways and very keenly interested in it. But there is a system out there that actually creates joy and the excitement of wanting to do something and then crushes it, because if you do not do exactly as you're told and you do not walk in lockstep, you will not be allowed to move any further. And this comes up from time to time in our world. There are times of great chaos and those systems fall apart. But power always seeks its own. Power always rises again. It always seems to take the same shape and the same form. No matter which way we look at it, tyranny is still tyranny. And there's this spirit of tyranny that seems to stalk the earth, and chaos will knock it down, and people will have a great time of trying to find out where they are and what, get their feet on the ground. And then there's a period of freedom where people are able to really be what they want to be. And there will be terrible things that happen. Yes, there will always be atrocities. There will always be somebody that does the wrong thing, but there's still freedom. And there are people able to do what they have in this big flowering. And out of that, power always rises up in the background, demanding that it has its place again. And it continues to rise and it continues to crush. And we're at an apex point in time where we have power beyond what we have ever imagined, with the technology to make it happen, on the cusp of creating a world they want. And then there's us. We are in this adventure right now. What are you going to do about it?
I feel like Royce is about to burst into a rant, but you know.
No,
I thought about it. I thought about it, but
look like a rant to me. It looks like another gushing session.
Yeah, there you go.
No, it's a lot of the things that I've thought about in the last few years. And there's really not a whole lot to add to that. There's nothing I could add to it. And if I tried to at this point, I would be reductive. Yeah. And I don't want to reduce that point. But the one thing that what she said is, what are you going to do? Where do you go? And the idea, that's something that all of us have to ask individually of ourselves. Mm-hmm. We're going, we are the heroes of our own journey. We have to answer those questions for ourselves. What are we doing? What's important for us to do? I think I found what's important for me. And I've said this before, my job is to gather community, right? And my job is to make sure that I, give voice to potentially the guy who's going to make the changes in the world. Be the stepping stone for whoever that major player is. God, I hope he's not a bad guy. But I know that in my heart of hearts, I got to gather community, and I have to help pave the way. I have to be a stepping stone in the garden for the guy who is going to go and, until the earth and grow the new things in the world.
Yep.
That's at least as much as I know. I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't know. A lot of people get life wrong from time to time, but I feel that in my heart of hearts, and I know that that's where I'm going. And honestly, that's part of the reason that I met you guys and I hung out with you guys and decided, you know what? This is the thing. This is what we need to do.
Yes. That's why I accepted.
Yeah, it's been a really, it's been kind of a wild time. It's one of these things where, you make the most progress sometimes whenever you're operating like on the edge of chaos. You don't know what you're doing exactly. And I definitely feel like the past, basically everything I've done with Iron Age Media has been that. I've had some faltering steps here and there with my own, with the site and so on and so forth. But, like this podcast, I've never really done podcasts or anything like that before this. And so it's been a major step out into the unknown, and it's, I think it's really paid off. So
I think, my favorite place to be is stressed to the nines. My wife,
I don't know if that's my favorite, but
well, dude, I'm just wired that way. And I always tell people when that force is pushing against me and my back is against the wall, it's when I do my best work. Because I always push back harder and I always win every single time. It sucks to be that guy sometimes, but that's what I do. And that's what I'm good at. And I love it. And I love that. And I'm sitting there watching a show the other night with my wife, and I'm relaxed and peaceful. And my wife is losing it. She's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, what? She goes, "You're just sitting." I'm just, baby, we're just watching a show. We found a good show to watch together because we hadn't had a show in a long time. And she's like, every about 50, baby, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, because she's not used to seeing that, where I'm just chill. I'm just in the moment, just watching a show. I'm not stressed. My back's not against the wall. I'm not pushing back. I'm not trying to break through something that's in front of me, because I just that's just how I am. And it freaked her out a little bit. She's like, I'm just, this whole relaxing thing, don't do that. That's weird. But everybody has their own mojo, and I love it. And I'm very, very glad that Richard decided to dance in the chaos with me for a little bit. It's fun.
Yes,
it is.
He loves you too, Daniel. It's okay.
I know.
Didn't say I didn't.
This is
Bryce and I have an unspoken bond.
Oh,
Sounds weird.
hey, there's a difference.
I was gonna say, I didn't know we were gonna tell everybody about that, but
Hey, we made it past an hour and a half tonight.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're at the
God.
hour and 45 mark. I think it might be safe for me to go into a really horrible rendition of Guy Love from Scrubs.
There you go.
The rails are coming off.
No, I think I let me go stretch my legs for just a minute, guys. I will be right back. And if there is anything, we're getting to that mark where we're gonna have to start reading super chats, and we're gonna have to, and I'm gonna have to start taking the black eyes from chat. So, give me a minute to prepare myself.
Fine.
Hold the punches, folks.
Oh no, no, and like I said, you got people down in the chat that are absolutely loving
They're
this.
wonderful
Tico.
people.
They're my chat are wonderful people. They're just here's how I tell people. My chat is aggressively supportive. Aggressively support. My chat is like, we're gonna help you, okay? And you're gonna get that. That's my chat, right? And you're just I don't know if I want your help. You're like, no, you're gonna take my help. Okay, chat. And it's awesome. I love my chat for that reason.
Please stop kicking me, but we're helping you.
We're helping you. If you would get off the ground, we'd stop kicking you. There's a lot of weird motivations in my chat. All right, guys, give me just a minute. I will be right back.
Take your time.
Quick, Royce is not. What's the secret you want to tell about him and have the chat ask him?
I don't. Royce isn't very good at secrets. I don't think. So.
Yeah, no. If anybody wears their heart on their sleeve, it's Royce.
Okay, does he have any trigger words? Like if we use it in the chat, what's that?
You can call him. He does now. I
I have to call him
here. He does enjoy being called Booty Daddy. Is his preferred moniker. So, if you want to.
What did I saw Herman had that on his thing?
Yeah, if you just.
And I made a promise to myself that at some point during the stream I have to call him haircut to his face.
Okay.
There you go.
We have to organize our thoughts here to make sure that we have.
Yeah. Speaking of organizing, real quick, I was going to tell chat, if you want to ask a question, put question in front of your comment so that Royce is 20% more likely to notice it.
20% is generous.
Yeah, well, I'm feeling good tonight.
Yeah.
I would actually be going crazy trying to read it because I have to have it big enough I can see it, so I can't see it.
I don't even bother trying. I blow up this particular screen with everybody's, panels on it, and I don't even bother trying to read chat. I would be too distracted.
Yeah, I have you on a tiny phone actually because I'm looking at my phone because I have it up there, so I'll actually look like a human. Here, I look like a talking potato. I've said this before. Where I put it up here and then put it down here. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is horrible looking. This is like the worst thing ever.
No, you're far from the worst. You're far from the worst.
Yeah.
From Seinfeld, where you put it in the right light, everything's okay. I was like, geez. And so I just all this is a whole new world for me. I've never done anything like this, and it's definitely different. So it's like.
Yeah, I've never done a live stream before now. I did recorded interviews and I recorded people that I interviewed. and then posted them. But I've never done live stream before Iron Age Nights, so it was all very new to me.
Okay, what have you never done? Richard, what have you never done before?
I mean, man, I never really did any of the live streaming. I never did anything on video, just sitting and talking to the camera. That's still something that I have like a major problem with.
It's hard.
I like sit there and I notice how slowly I speak sometimes. One of the guys that I was working with on the some of the various Web3 type stuff this past summer, he's a YouTuber, and he would leave me voice messages through WhatsApp, and you can see on the voice message the little, like what is it, like the audio visualizer, and his are just like a steady, there's no silence, he's just constantly talking. This is how he always is, and mine are like, there's like a blip and then like a flat spot and then another blip, and I'm like, oh Lord. And I just I noticed that whenever I'm doing my video editing, and I'm like, this is brutal.
Yeah, when I was doing the interviews, it would be a review of someone's book and then a short, like 45-minute interview. So it was like a 15-minute review and then a 45-minute interview where I was talking to them, and then I posted them on YouTube. I still do it every once in a while, but it's not really something I like commit a lot of time to. It's mostly when I get an opportunity to actually finish a book, which can take months. But the first couple of times I did it, it was like I record it, stop, look at it, and go, no, I have to do this over again. Record it, stop, look at it, and go, God, I'm talking too fast. So it was so uncomfortable to try, because I'm trying to read what I wrote about the book, the notes, and kind of convey it in an enjoyable fashion without looking like I'm staring at a piece of paper the whole time. Like, and then, it was horrible. It's the worst experience.
It is one of the reasons that I don't script anything that I do, because if you've ever heard me read the chat, that's what it would sound like.
We're going to hear you read the chat very soon.
I know. Well, it's an art form. It really is. Video is a totally different thing. And there is a performative aspect to being on video, regardless. And there's still a way to do it and be yourself. And there are some people that you can tell do it and they are themselves, and other people that you're just like, wow, this guy's trying way too hard. But there is a performative aspect to all of that. Huh?
I hope it's not me.
No, what do you mean?
No,
you're good.
I think I like hobbit on crack or something like that. And I talk so fast. I actually lost. I was I love doing theater and singing and everything. I lost a part in a play because the guy thought I was cranked on meth. And I was like, I can't stop. It's just who I am. It's just really super fast. And I've gotten to where I like to listen to people on 2x speed. Like when I'm trying to listen to everything on YouTube and get through stuff.
Yes.
Pop it on there. And if I'm on the stream and suddenly it's like, I can't even tell it. I just give up. I don't.
Oh God, that's that. No, I get it. I have had to learn how to slow down, because there are a lot of times when I will just, especially, when, like my Sunday coffee streams, I just book it. I just go, let's go.
I like it. I like it when you get passionate that way. You're happy. You're rolling.
Yeah, and it's fun. Like I said, there, being, especially, like doing, structuring, doing like book reviews and things like that. Like those are different, and the editing process too, because that's you kind of factor that in. Like after you've done so many videos, you kind of factor in some of the editing processes and the styles that you choose. And like I have like my presets, right? Like there are, well, especially not so much here with what I'm doing now, but eventually, if this grows to a point where this turns into the full-time gig, there's something that I would love to do. I would love to do like one full-blown, fully edited, well done like video every single week, on top of just the normal daily stuff that I do, because I miss editing. I like it. But there's a way that once you've done so many freaking videos, you're just like, okay, I know the style that works best, because there's this whole post process that I do And like sometimes I'll be going on a rant and I have a bunch of like saved music in the back that I just kind of like, I use a lot of the same stuff because having too many different songs. But like I'll hear the song in my head like as I'm ranting and I'm like, oh, okay. And so I go and I pick that and I put it in the undertone. And the reason that I even use music in my videos is because I am not in a soundproof house. I have dogs, I've got kids, there's always noise. There's usually something crashing. Just exploding up. Sometimes in my videos I just hear things just happen upstairs and I'm just like, you know what?
That's what the music is.
Like I'm mid rant. I'll deal with that later.
You're a better man than I am. I got 2 interview and review videos in, and I was like, this is way too hard. I hired Walter Wiggins from Twitter to edit my videos for me. I'm like, do it. I can't figure it out, and it's so frustrating. Just do it for me, please.
It takes a lot of. Well, it is like writing. It is like writing. It is learning and doing that craft and figuring it out. Like
he's got years of experience, so he was like, I can do it. And then he, like, a half an hour later, he's like, here it is. And how did you do that?
I know. Like, those are those tech nerds that they're the ones. Their creations are gorgeous when we want them and we need them so bad. We're like, do it, please.
Yeah.
Yep. There's a reason he calls it Walter Magic, and I agree.
No, absolutely. Well, I want to take a quick moment here for the fantastic RH Snow to tell us where can we find you and what links can we share of yours. I've been dropping your links down in the chat all night, but just let us know how to find you and what we can expect from you in the future before we get to the super chats and all of the shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, I want to say I love you. I know a lot of you actually did read the books, and I want to tell you thank you. And I said this in a video I just did a couple of days ago, that knowing how many people have actually read the entire series already was stunning, because that's an investment of time and money. When you invest that much time reading 6 books that are full-length novels, in fact, they're long novels, that is extraordinary. So I love my readers. Thank you so much. And you can find me, if you want to put it in threads, flow.page/RH Snow. That will take you to my links page where I have all of my links there. watcherthedams.com, which is my author page. If everything goes dark on Amazon or anything else like that, you're going to still be able to buy the books. I will give them away as PDFs if I have to, but they are going to be out there, and it will be on watcherthedam.com, or there will be something directing you to my next page. You can find my books on Amazon.com, of course, and it's also in several overseas Amazons as well. And you can find it on Barnes & Noble. You can also find it at Book People in Austin, which I just set up with them. It's one of the oldest. Love my people in Austin. They're fantastic. And they just worked with me now. And so I'm going to be sending them some books, and we're going to start out with Book People. So that's my first really on-the-ground big experience, and I'm very thrilled about it. So yay for Book People, one of the most fantastic largest independent bookstore in Texas. And very proud. So real happy with that. We are going to be making the Audible. What you were saying about trying to record is absolutely insane. I told I'm here at a farm, and I was going to record. I have my little Blue Yeti and whatever. Holy cow, it's so hard to get it done when you're doing Audible. And Herman, more power to you, buddy, because you just have this incredible Audible out. And I was like, I'm going to do it like Herman. I'm gonna get myself. I can't afford the people that Herman has. I have to do it myself. So I do have the mini series, actually, that it is a podcast. It's the mini series. Right now we have 9 episodes, and because structure changed with one of my people that was working on it, it'll probably stay as a 9 episode. It ends right there at the cliffhanger. But we are making the Audible books. We will do it. I will be reading them, and I am building my studio. So it may be about 3 to 4 months at least before we get out something, but I'm going to be trying to get out that first Audible book for it. So you do have the podcast to listen to if you want to have a teaser of what's going to be happening on Audible, but that's going to be there. And then I have the tabletop role-playing game, which is System and Star, which you can buy at Big Geek Emporium.
Big Geek Emporium. We were just checking them out the other day, actually, on the channel.
Yeah.
Really proud of them. They have done a fantastic job. I'm very happy with them. I do have it on DriveThruRPG, but I love the attention that Big Geek has given me. I'm really thrilled with that. They have been very good to me, and in fact, you're carrying the series, so the book can also be bought there as well. We have 2 more series in this loop, and when I started first writing, so we'll either be 1 or 2 series. We'll see where the story goes. I do believe in flow of writing, but I do have a definite arc. So there'll be at least 6 books coming, and there may be as much as 12. Because I read Howard, so nobody can cry at me. But if you read everything that on Conan, then you do not need to be looking at me with them crazy sad eyes. Yes, it's a huge 3 arc series, and it's all tied together, and it does have a definitive end, but it will be there. And if you want to check it out, please go look at it. I will get this. We've already got the first series done. It's a standalone series. It can be read as it is. And then the second series will work much the same way. And I plan on showing George R.R. Martin that it can be done. Thank you.
God, I love this woman.
Yeah. And I'm telling you right now, if something happens to me, I have already chosen the person that will write the books. It's my son. That person that, the one that's the writer, he's fantastic. And he will have the entire, he does not know the arc yet. He has not found out because I keep it a secret. He's one of my first beta readers, and I'm bringing on Stephen Black as one of my editors from Twitter, a great guy. I'm going to be having him come in to edit for me. And
Cool.
to have these series, the series will be finished. The books will be done, and there is a definitive timetable. The entire series should be done by Christmas 2025, and that means 18 books. If I do it well. I'm already on book 9, actually, not counting. And if you would like it, we do have our world guides. Yay! See that? And then I
awesome.
Meta written into you did that, like then yay, look at me. So you got Purgatory Papers and System and Star, and the Purgatory Papers can be used simultaneously as an NPC book or as a world guide. And if you pick that up, it will explain the world to you. So if you come in mid series, or you're just like, oh, I picked up book 3 and I feel a little lost, you can get that world guide. And there are also spoilers and Easter eggs in the world guide that if you read the entire series, you will go back and you will have that Sixth Sense moment where you see all the red. It'll be fun.
Very cool.
That's awesome. Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. I love the energy. I'm down.
Yes.
RH Snow, you will be my new co-host from now on.
I'm going to have to check out the tabletop system because on Sunday nights I've started streaming a little bit, and I sort of want to play do some more relaxing things where I'm just sort of enjoying content and talking to people. And that sounds like you said it was a 3D6 system?
Yes, 3D6. You can just do it with your 6-sided dice. I've got all my fun dice that I have. They're sparkly, they're purple, they're so cute.
Yeah.
Not knowing what's happening next with anything that I guess that we can't use 20-sided anymore, or are they saying that? I don't know. But so the 6.
Oh no, you can. It's just
don't tell anybody. It's like shoot, shovel.
Yeah, they're very litigious, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I actually like the 3D6 systems because you have a little bit less like total chaos.
Yeah,
in some cases.
There's a lot of advantages to it, and Jonathan was the one that actually sold me on it. And I was like, okay, let's go with it. And he explained how we were going to set it up. And so I just wanted to write the module and go, hey, we're going to do this fun thing, and then we're going to do that fun thing. And he was like, no, here's how you make it into an actual game. And those are the architects. Those are the people, your tech guys, your nerds, and the ones that actually write the series. There's a certain finesse to doing a tabletop series that goes beyond what most people can possibly comprehend. It's a world, and it's amazing.
Well, that's awesome. I'm really looking forward to checking that out.
Thank you.
Do we want to? I was going to say, I know there are a bunch of questions. Do we want to go to chat, or do you guys have anything else?
Oh, let's do questions and then super chats.
I know, because I'm gonna ramble away.
Just throw off my groove.
No.
Questions are more relevant to our guest, Royce.
Yeah, I was going to say, and she seems totally adequate at jumping right back into whatever groove we throw down. So,
no, it's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. Oh, it's awesome.
That is
so I will throw this out there. There usually I am the most high energy person in the room. And No, and tonight I told my wife, I was like, I bet, would you, and because it seems that Friday nights, it just gets long days, and obviously I don't go to bed until early in the morning generally.
Yeah.
On Saturday morning. But I was like, hey babe, would you pick up an energy drink? So my wife came down and handed me an energy drink in case I needed it. And as we're going and as the conversation's moving along, the energy that you had is rubbing off on me, and I'm like, I don't need it, and it's awesome. And I love it. It's not envy, Herman. God, I freaking Jeff.
I'm the Ric Flair of women. So think of it that way. Just woo! Just get your woo on right. You can do it. Yeah.
I love it. Trippy Soul has a question. He says, "How the fuck do you know R.H. Snow?" I covered Watcher of the Damned in one of my Wednesday episodes, and she commented on the video, and then has subscribed to the channel and watched and been in on the Sunday show, and has, and she's a member of the Gilded and jumps in there once in a while, and we were talking about it a while back, and we're like, you know what, we got to get her on. We got to get her here to talk about what she's doing, and that's how we know.
Sweet.
We interact on Twitter every now and then.
See,
I try to. Twitter doesn't let me see half of y'all's stuff. Literally.
I know it's very hard to find the people you actually want to interact with.
Dude, especially their news system. Oh my God, it's terrible.
I don't know what. I really feel like there's other things in play than other people have mentioned this. You have Elon and you have his group, and then we know there's this whole superstructure out there now that's like got remote buttons or something. And so I'm not seeing my mutuals as much. So I actually go hunt them down and try to do one a day where I'm going to go find this person and post on their stuff. So if you don't see me, come over and tap on me if you see me. I'll come and
I think I probably read the question wrong. Everybody's like, Rice, you read the question wrong. So it was, wait, how the fuck do you know what you know, R.H. Snow?
No, because I lived long enough. The other way, the reason was because my parents didn't ever tell me that I couldn't ask questions. They were very much free thinkers. There is a culture of freedom in our family. Obviously, there's a part of that in Texas, as you well know. Texas, Ohio, Lone Star State, and we're a nation, by golly. We could be again too.
Fingers crossed.
That's right. We have that freedom, and part of that was intellectual freedom. They wanted us to read everything we could, to understand everything, to question it. I'm a very strong Christian. I'm a very firm believer in Jesus Christ. I also have read all of the world religions that I can find. I read everything that I can find regarding mythologies and great religions of this present age. And I try to look at Nietzsche and other people, and I tried to read as much as I possibly could. Reading was the key for me. And for a lot of people, reading is a very difficult thing. So I'm going to tell you the secret now so you can teach your children in case you ever have to. A letter is a picture of a sound. If you learn your letters and if you learn your sounds, you can learn to read. And if you learn to read, you can learn anything. A letter is simply a pictograph, and it tells you how to make the sound. You can sound out those words. Now you can have the thoughts of the great Plato in your mind because you learned how to read his words. So reading is what set me free, and it let me be who I was. And beyond that, and being saved by Jesus Christ, because knowing that you're loved makes a big difference too. Being allowed to be yourself. When I finally learned that I was created as I'm supposed to be, that I'm not a mistake in nature, that actually I'm supposed to be who I am, and I'm supposed to be this wild and crazy. And it gets a little tiring. I've heard that somewhat from some people that know me very intimately, that just the constant chatter can be a little bit much. The constant energy, staying up all night and then going to sleep. But when you know that you're loved and you're meant to be that way, that there's a reason that you are who you are in your neurodivergence or in your creation of how you're supposed to be, and you learn to get excited about the world, and you fill your mind with things that you want to know. And that's how I learned those things. And I'm grateful to God every day that I was blessed with the people in my life who wanted me to ask questions, never to stop asking questions.
Yeah. That's how I raised my daughter. And, there's nothing like the wisdom of experience and the joy of learning.
No, and I don't disagree. I don't disagree at all. John A. Douglas says, open to crossover with other people's works.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. I've actually got a Vela out there, and it's actually, I use it. It was my background. I started writing the background, and I was like, put Watcher's backstory of this wonderful world of tech that he was living in happening. And I have, I think, 10 episodes in a closed arc sort of, but it's out there. And one of the things I thought of is I thought how easy it would be to do crossovers, because if you're looking at multiple areas and timelines, whether it's in the world where of the Watcher of the Damned is in the story itself, or in the prior world, there's a lot of room to grow there. And so, because it much mirrors our own. I've said before that Watcher of the Damned actually is, what if the Georgia Guidestones became real, is kind of the basis for Watcher of the Damned. And so, yeah, I think it'd be really fun to do a crossover, to have something where we could mix, because I love crossovers. If you ever did Jack Kirby, if you're a Jack Kirby fan, in fact, that's the only reason any of my art looks like anything at all, is because every time I want to show people fighting or doing things, I try to find something Jack Kirby drew with those big old foreshort fists and cool stuff, and I go to it. And Jack Kirby loved art crossovers. He was the master of it. So I would feel honored to do a crossover with somebody. If they really wanted to do one with me, that'd be great.
Oh, I think you got a few fans tonight that are absolutely gonna want to do that.
Yeah. I had the same tact with Legacy of Heroes. It was like, I'm gonna go back to the well where the golden age of superheroes, and then apply it to the modern world. That uplifting allegorical myth concept, and it works for me. It was a joy to write, and I'm looking forward to writing the next few.
Well, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, huge fan of Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. I mean,
yeah.
Little anecdote about the book: the journalist that is in the first book, his name is Stanley Lieberman, and it's literally meant to be an homage to Stan Lee.
Oh, that's amazing. I love Stan Lee. He was great. And
he understood where stories needed to go. He understood the concept of every story, and in his version of it was every story needs to be written as if it's somebody's first time coming into it, and he did it well.
The way I interpreted after all the reading I did about him was that his start was he wanted to showcase humans doing great things in their capacity. Like a lot of his early work was just regular people doing ordinary things to the best of their ability. And then he got into superheroes, and then it became extraordinary humans doing things with the best of their abilities. And it was just perfect.
But that's the beauty of Peter Parker. And that's what we're losing right now in this current era. He's an ordinary human. One of the best things about Peter is the fact that he's just this everyman. He literally is an awkward guy from high school. No matter how great he gets at Spider-Man, it seems like he's always having, as opposed to Superman, who's like the golden boy, and then probably, passing the footballs and everything. Peter's literally struggling. He's back there, back in the days. My husband actually was a photographer. You don't know how lonely it was to go back and do the dark room. That was the guy with the yearbook, and everybody like.
You guys have ever been in a dark room? Like that gets.
Dog, it's so crazy. And so Peter's that guy. And that is the part that we want to be able to connect with him now. And everybody has an arc. You grow through those things. You still are the everyman, but now you're the everyman as doing the best you can, as Stan Lee said. Stan Lee's a lot like Heinlein in his respects. That you do the best you can with what you have. And Peter really does represent that. I think that I would say the closest thing to a Heinleinian character in comics would be that, or certainly one of the originals would be Peter Parker.
Yep. I agree.
I agree.
Love that.
We have Skunk's Workshop for $5. Those of you who don't know about Buc-ee's, go watch her video about it. It'll warm you right up.
Thank you.
Buc-ee's is great.
Yes, it is.
I told you got some fans.
That is so adorable. Thank you. I'm just glad I was out there.
Which Buc-ee's are you closest to? I'm curious about.
One in Temple, actually. There's one in Madisonville.
Okay.
Sort of like equidistant. So we actually have to travel to go to Buc-ee's. So it's like going to Mecca or something. You have to like head.
Yeah.
That's like going to Mecca.
Yeah, you go. Got to stop at the Buc-ee's, and I love all of. Let me say it right now. I love all of my truck stops. I have a lot of friends, a lot of people that work there. They're truckers and everything. So all of you people out there who are doing your truck stops, even if you're not a Buc-ee's, you're still special. You're the reason somebody. I love you. Thank you. But
one of my.
We have to go.
You're
my favorite truck stops.
Less special though if you're not at Buc-ee's. It's just like
just
screw
like
no. 3 to 5%.
One of the best truck stops on the planet is in Colorado. It's called Johnson's Corner.
I've heard
it is.
Oh my gosh.
No, they became famous for their cinnamon rolls. I mean, their homemade fresh cinnamon rolls are like that big. I mean, it's a cinnamon roll, you know.
That's awesome.
And like, oh no, and they just, I always love going there, and it just, yeah. So
these are fat, and it's because not all of us, but you're on the truck, and if you're doing transfers and stuff, you stop, and you always know where all of the good stops are. And since everybody in my family is either an EMT or a firefighter or they're something, all that stuff, we know where all the truck food is. It's like you go to a Stripes, you're like, okay, that's where you get the sausages. And then you go to another one, you go down the road, whatever it is, a quick stop. And that's where you're going to get the sandwich, that's like really the right way made. So it's just, everything has its own little special thing. But yeah, Buc-ee's is a whole different experience. And it's sort of taken on a life of its own. Ever since Babylon Bee ran this series they had on Texas versus California, and they went to a Buc-ee's, and I was like, well, heck, I got a Buc-ee's down there. I just covered it when I came back from BaseCon. I went to Robert Krusty's BaseCon, and I was there as a panelist, and I drove the whole way, by the way, because I can't get on a plane or I might die. And so I was like, I got to drive the whole way. And I drove back, and the first thing when we came back to Texas is we went to the Buc-ee's. And it was fantastic. And so that's what I say. I'm back in the state of Texas. The first thing we do is walk in. And it's like walking into the state fair at a gas station, literally.
Mm-hmm. The only place that I ever look for whenever I go anywhere is I look for a breakfast, because I love, like, breakfast is my favorite. Like, it's my favorite, like, to go out to a meal. I don't like going out to dinner. Like, it's always, like, dinner, it's always disappointing restaurants for breakfast. But the one thing I always look for a good biscuits and gravy.
Oh, dog.
Oh, I love biscuits and gravy. And there's too many places that don't do it right. But when I find that place that does a good biscuits and gravy, that knows how to do, oh man. Oh, it's just like, nope. And I'm going here every week for the rest of my life.
Right now, here then, quick. Your best breakfast food right now and where you get it. Share it with your audience now. They need to. You said biscuits and gravy. Where are you getting it, Royce?
Here right now in Iowa, I don't know a place that does a good one. I don't know a place that does a good one.
That's a shame.
It sucks. Back in Colorado, there is a place in Greeley. It's a God. I can't even remember the name of it now, but it's called like there's a couple of places, but there's a place in Greeley. The Egg and I is what it's called. Man, they got a good biscuits and gravy in there. They do, and they do a couple of different styles of like breakfast food and stuff like that. But no, the Egg and I in Greeley, Colorado, man, they got a good biscuits and gravy. But here in Iowa, I haven't had a good biscuits and gravy yet. I hate you, my love. No, I can't. Hey, chat, I just want you to, my wife just wants to let everybody know that you guys just lost the game.
What? What happened?
Oh, no. Oh, no, the chat knows. If the chat knows, the chat knows. I will not indoctrinate those who do not know.
Now I'm afraid.
All right, but yeah, all right, guys, where's your breakfast food? What's your breakfast food that you love, and where do you go to get it?
Go ahead, Richard.
I guess I was going to say my default is probably Waffle House. I love a good Waffle House as long as it's, a decent distance from, it can't be in the city,
crime,
or else you get hobos. And it's got to be kind of out on the interstate a little ways. So but I only get hash browns there.
Ooh,
yeah, I don't do the
Waffle House hash browns.
Yeah, that's the way to go. But I mean, that's my staple.
So pedestrian.
Yeah, there was a place in where I went to college, and I'm blanking on the name of it, but they would have these like breakfast burritos, but they would put the hash browns in it, and along with all the other,
dude,
sausage and eggs and everything else, and it would just be like dripping grease, and you'd go there at 2 or 3 in the morning and eat that, and it would be a terrible decision. But
Iowa has no breakfast burritos. Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with this state. I need a breakfast burrito with Hatch green chili in it. Like at least.
Yeah, breakfast tacos are awesome, of course, but
breakfast, they're not bad, but man, you got it. Breakfast burritos, dude. Colorado has some of the best breakfast burritos on the planet. I swear. Oh, but you can't go. But you can't go to the mainstream restaurants. That's where everybody gets wrong. You can't go to the mainstream restaurants. Like if you live in Colorado, you know where to go to get the good. And every time you walk in, there's some dude behind the counter. He don't understand English, and that's where you get the good breakfast burritos, man. Oh, I'm telling you.
Funny.
I was gonna say I don't know. I mean, Buc-ee's is like a great place for breakfast. So that's like they have a bunch of
my memories of it are very fond.
So,
yep. There is a mom and pop diner literally a block away from my home. It's called the West Main Diner. It's run by a former biker and his family. He's retired now. Yeah, and similar to Rice, I love me some sausage gravy, but I have to say, this.
Nope, we're about to not be friends. We're about to not be friends.
No, we will be. Trust me. On the menu, it literally says "shit on a shingle."
Sausage
gravy on toast.
Oh, I love shit on a shingle, dude. Oh my god,
too, I know. With a side of grits and Tabasco sauce. Oh my god! And the way he makes it is so good. Homemade sausage gravy. Locally,
dude, I haven't had SOS in forever.
Yep, I was raised on it. My grandfather. Anytime we went to go visit him, he's like, "We're going to breakfast," and that's what we got. Shit on the shingle.
My dad used to make SOS for like dinner, but he'd do like the sausage gravy, but he'd do it with like beef tips in it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude,
man, that sounds good.
Oh man, dude, yeah, no, my dad was killer, man. I'm literally gonna tell my wife. I'm like, babe, you need to make shit on a shingle now, and she's gonna look at me and go, "What?"
Yes.
Oh man. I don't live in. I don't know why they're asking me about Idaho. I don't live in Idaho. I live in Iowa. The thing says no flavor.
I don't know where that is. I know where that is.
Oh, all right. Kikomon for $2 says, anyone play HOI 4? Anyone? I have no idea what that is.
Hearts of Iron 4. And unfortunately, no, I don't play that anymore.
But I have not played it yet.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, never even heard of it.
Yeah, I've not. It's out of my wheelhouse.
I love all of them, and I'm just like, when I started writing, I stopped playing as much because there's so many storylines. Like I did one set, Dragon Age Inquisition. That's what I did. I did that one time. I did break for writing to work all the permutations of freaking Dragon Age Inquisition so I could find out what the heck happened to Solus. And then I get ripped off because I have a PS3 because when my daughter got deployed, she gives me all of her tech. And so I have a PS3 from the Ancient of Days, and I'm not going to upgrade. I don't care. They can't make me. All of my stuff's on a disc, and it's mine forever, y'all. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
I like it.
I've heard it's fantastic. I have heard it's wonderful.
I'll have to check it out.
Kikomon for another $5. Says Royce is like Tim Pool, won't address Legend of Shalar and snacks during the live stream. Shame. Okay, so my wife actually brought me some cheese curds from Culver's because she knows that I love them. So I was accepting a gift for my wife. And two, you guys are trolling me with that Shalar stuff. I have no.
I don't even know what the hell they're talking about,
dude. I think I have really no idea where the chat got it from, but they kept giving me crap about it on the live stream the other night, and they're like, Royce, no, you're missing it. Like the Legend of Shalar, because I was like going through all the stuff that people leave on Twitter, because I do that post every week, like, hey, share your stuff here. We'll cover it on the live stream. And nothing is there named Legend of Shalar, and it clicks in my head. I'm like, chat's screwing with me. The chat's totally screwing with me.
Fair enough.
They want to trigger you.
They love screwing with me so bad. It's great. It's great. John A. Douglas, thanks, Royce. I'm eating cereal now because of you. Oh man.
Back, y'all. Let's get it.
Oh, dude. No, I there's this breakfast joint I've been wanting to check out. It's about a half hour away. But I'm the type of person that if I'm gonna eat breakfast, I want to eat breakfast at like 6 to 6:30 in the morning, like breakfast, you know. And my wife and kids on the weekends, they're just like, why are you waking us up this early? I'm like, well, we got to get to breakfast. And my wife is like, I am not eating this early in the morning. I'm like, no, babe, but like breakfast. Like their version of breakfast is like 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, half the day's gone. Let's go. I wake up at 4. Like, I am that guy. It's great.
If we're going to keep talking about food, I'm going to have to mention my favorite place in Texas.
Ooh, let's do it. Let's go.
Do it.
I lived in Manor for a year during the COVID lockdowns.
Really?
Yeah, right outside of Austin. And there it was a place that was about 5 minutes or so away from the district development, whatever you want to call it, that we lived in, called the Good Luck Grill.
Oh my gosh.
The best.
I'm not familiar with it.
The best fried catfish I have ever had.
Oh, don't go there with me. Oh, dude.
Oh,
we're just gonna
my
do a
God.
food stream now.
Oh, dude.
It was so good that I was calling them every day during the lockdowns to see if someone was there to make food.
Dude, fried catfish is freaking good. There's a place back in Colorado. It's called Mo Betta Gumbo. It's a guy who's from Louisiana, went to chef school, moved out to Colorado because that's where all the business was, and he couldn't find any good Southern food, so he opened up his own restaurant.
Oh wow,
dude! He does a fried catfish steak, I get his blackened catfish steak. So I get a blackened catfish steak over a bed of red beans and rice, and he does like a shrimp etouffee over the top of it, or he'll do a gumbo over the top of it. Oh my God.
Making me hungry at almost midnight.
I love catfish. Oh.
Yeah, me too.
So good. Oh.
It was the find of the century. I was just like, I need to find something to eat. And I'm like scrolling through my phone at local restaurants the first week that we had got there. And I'm like, what is this Good Luck Grill? And I asked my girlfriend, and she's like, it's amazing. You want to go? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And I didn't want to leave. I was like, just keep bringing me plates of this. I'll die here fat.
I'm not even hungry right now. And dude, my wife knew how much I loved gumbo. And she's so amazing. Because I am not the typical, like, you meet the guys who are like, nope, I want steak and potatoes every night. And I'm just like, I'm always wanting to try different foods and stuff like that from around the world. And my wife, and I've always told her this, I said, baby, if you ever want to learn how to cook food, I said, you find a grandma from the home country. And I says, you make sure she speaks the language that's there, right? Mm-hmm. And if she speaks English, she better only speak a little bit of English. And you will learn to cook the best. And my wife, she'll cook homemade Mexican food for me now. She learned how to make gumbo for me now, and she does one of the best pots of gumbo that I've had. And she learns that. She's always like, hey, what do you want to try? And that, like, just things I remember from like because I had friends that were, all different, nationalities when I was a kid, and so they all had like their different, like their moms would make like food from the home country. And, you know, my wife, so she cooks it all. So I get to eat. That's the one thing that, like, I'm so glad I'm with my wife, because otherwise my life in Iowa would be flavorless.
For sure. My best friend growing up, his mom was off the boat Italian.
Oh,
she was married to an American soldier and off the boat Italian. And she's the most fantastic woman. It spoiled me rotten, and I wasn't even her kid. Every time we came over, she's like, "You want something to eat?" I'm like, "Yes, absolutely." She had always had homemade marinara and making these amazing dishes constantly. Yeah, like Thanksgiving, I'd have Thanksgiving dinner with my parents and then go over to his house and have second Thanksgiving dinner, because she just had a spread, and she's like, "Tell anybody to come over. I love to cook."
Oh yeah. As my dad, he grew up with a bunch of Italians that were right off the boat, man. And like my dad always said, Grandpa Pietro, he had his organ grinder monkeys. He had his monkeys that would live in the back shed as they come over with him from Italy. And he goes, and my dad, he was a hellraiser from the 60s and 70s. My dad said, "God, we used to piss them monkeys off so bad." And I'm like, "Dad, what the hell?" "Oh, we'd get that old man hopping at us. You son bitch kids, leave them monkeys alone." I'm like, "Dad, you're..." Oh, fun stories. Oh God.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I grew up with some fun stories. My parents definitely got some stories behind them. Let's Kikomon for $5 says, "Hail RH Snow, check out her YouTube channel below. Like and subscribe here and there. You must have used soy sauce. You look late 30s, early 40s. Woo!
I'm ready to use your sauce for sex."
There you go.
I love soy sauce. My mother learned to cook Chinese back when everybody was still learning how to do that 70s. It was like they all of a sudden had this big flowering of wanting to do different dishes. And you finally had access to it in a lot of the main stores. And we were living in Boise, Idaho at the time. And they had a big Chinese community that actually cooked downtown. And we loved their food. And so mother Chinese. And because I have a tough time. I'm actually allergic to meth, like real allergic, like actually allergic since I was a kid. I actually ended up going deaf and having a whole bunch of bad stuff happen. And they figured out because I was premature, I was allergic to actual cow milk. So I can't even have everybody else eats. So I get to watch. I have an iron will because I get to watch everybody else. And I've eaten stuff from time to time, but it will literally almost kill me. Like I just haven't had Blue Bell except maybe like a few times in my life. My type so I do, but so I get to watch everybody. So there's a whole bunch of food in Watcher the Dam because of that. But yeah, my mother learned how to cook Chinese food from it. It actually her cookbook was this amazing cookbook that had like the bamboo pages. Actually, it was written it actually has hand eat portions in it, and I've kept that. It's one of my big treasures that I have from that period.
Awesome.
So that was like the person I went to if I wanted to have an experience, because you and that's actually how I get a lot of the world foods too, because if you go to a traditional Mexican food, Mexicano versus Tejano will use more cheese and like a little bit more tomato and stuff, and Mexicano it's a whole different experience to have a taco. Like I go to one of my little places. I have two places around here, Taqueria Mexicana, which is in Mejia, and then I have Dos Pepes and Groesbeck, and they make fantastic tacos because everybody's from the home country. But my favorite one that I get for that little taco is Patty's Way, which is right down the street from me. Hi, Patty. I hope you're watching. And she's got a little place right on the corner. And you're right. It's like she just knows how to make it by love and puts it. And so all of the people that when you see these guys and these gals, that act of creation, making a tortilla, and I'm here to Taqueria Mexicana people know we sit there and watch them. Every one of them is a book. It's a book of taste and emotion. I love my.
And one of the things that I've experienced this is like you can always tell, and I say this because this is what I've experienced, and I could be wrong on this one, but I'm like you can always tell the difference between somebody who's from south of the border and not from south of the border by the amount of stuff in the meal. My a buddy of mine's grandma, she used to make potato burritos, And it was potato, a little bit of green chili, and some cheese. And it was fantastic. And every so often, she would make, a potato and something else burrito. But it's like I thought about it. And I was like, all of the old Mexican grandmas that I knew that cooked just the mind-boggling. It was all one ingredient in it. It wasn't all this, we're going to put meat and then we're going to put cheese and we're going to put tomatoes. No, we're going to put the meat in the tortilla. We're going to wrap it, and then we're going to put like a green chili or a red sauce over it and done. That's it. And it's the most flavorful stuff you've ever had in your life. And it's simple and it's basic and it's mind-blowingly good.
And so this is one of the reasons why actually this cooking shows up in Watcher the Damned. I don't know if you've read it yet, but there's a lot about food. Part of it's because I'm hungry and I got to watch people eat so much time. Watcher's coming from a place where he doesn't even have control over what he's eating. And cooking is a trial. You're out in the middle of this place where you can't just cook. And one of the things that she cooks are nixtamales. And she makes them with a nixtamal. You actually have to make your masa a certain way. And masa is the grand ingredient. It's what they call it, bread of life. And I've always been able to eat tortillas because they don't usually have milk in it. So bread, really good bread, a lot of times has good old-fashioned milk in it. And North American cooking made by people that are like white people that are like 6 foot tall, and they're like all smiling and drinking a whole gallon of milk. And I'm like, I can't do it, So I ended up, she would bake them with all this stuff. And tortillas were like her go-to. And the tortillas are masa each time. And so I put a lot of that into Watcher the Damned because a lot of that cooking from the old countries, the old style, is done with the things that are available in the world. And back to that way of cooking. How do you make that food? And you just talk about the effort it takes to grow enough, to refine enough, to put it through the process of nixtamalization so you can make the masa the way it's supposed to be so it doesn't kill you in the end, because you got to do it right or it'll mess you up. And that's the things that the old people knew. And that's one of the things in Watcher the Damned that's so big that I got such a huge appreciation for, was looking at how do you cook in conditions that people don't think of cooking in. How do you feed people? And that love where you realize that somebody took that 10 minutes to learn how to pat out that. And now I do it because I know how to pat out the tortilla. When you roll them up and pat them out, how long it takes to do that for somebody, it's an act of love. It takes a long time. And food means something. So it actually shows up a lot in the series just because of the amount of real estate of them thinking about it. I get hungry every time I write because I keep on writing about cooking Mexican food all the time.
Oh, God. Okay. Maji Chen for $5 says different people have different ways of doing things. And this is when we were talking about, living life and writing your own stories and making your own story out of your voice, and not trying to copy someone else. Yeah. We were in that conversation. And no, she's right. Different people do have ways of doing things. Kikomon for $2 says, RH Snow, do you like soy sauce? Woo!
Yes, I love soy sauce. So he wants to know. Yes, so when my mother started cooking with Chinese food, we were able to get Kikomon soy sauce. Actually, was the only ones that we had available. And so buy it down at the Chinese food place, and we got the big things of it. And she learned how to make some like just fried rice, and she would use the Kikomon soy sauce. So so you're a celebrity in my house.
Don't tell him that. Don't tell him that. He's been wanting me to play you the Kikomon song all night.
If we have time.
If we have time, I may not get to it. JVP Music says, and I don't know where this joke comes from. I'm at a loss here. He says, it's the barely legal stream. What the hell? I don't know what JVP is saying.
What?
I don't know. Dude, it's my chat. When do I don't know.
Like, nobody in this stream is under 30.
I don't know this thing, and how dare you?
Pushing death uphill in a little red wagon. If I'm barely legal, it's we're doing.
Oh no! Okay. Geekomon for $5. Politics is downstream of culture, but isn't politics already corrupt to the core? I stared in the early 90s. Culture changed now without power. Wait, culture changed now without power.
I think it started. Probably is what started, not stared. Probably.
It started. Yeah. I think it started in the early 90s. Culture changed now without power. politics isn't corrupt to its core. It's usually the people who vie for power are the ones that are corrupt to the core. Politics is a tool. Politics is a tool that's been used for corrupt means, but I don't think politics in and of itself is corrupt.
The system that places the politicians is corrupt.
Yeah.
And you have that same, when we talk about the music industry, yes, absolutely, corruption rises because one of the things that is so important, and it's this way in any totalitarian society, they have to control music and art. And they want things to be written a certain way. They want things to be music to say certain things, and they want it to convey the mindset that they want to have. And so you have that portion rise up to where only these songs are whatever.
That's what it is. Sorry, I'm so sorry to interrupt. Raven Nevermore says, "A Drink with Crazy, it's episode 18, barely legal."
Yeah.
I get it now. That's where the joke came from. It's the barely legal stream because it's episode 18. Okay.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
There you go.
I get it now. Wow.
Oh wow, that whole lifetime.
Yeah. No, that went way over my head.
Number 4. I don't need to get anything.
I am not gonna even go into what drink I'm on. That's oh God.
But yeah, politics is just infrastructure, and infrastructure itself is not inherently good or bad. It's just a system of ordering the world that you live in. So it's the people that populate it. Half of the politicians that we have out there are generational politicians. So their foundation was built long before they ever walked into the public sphere.
Yeah. And I actually want to encourage people, and I never want to, and I'm sorry, Richard, that it was so tough on you. And we have a lot of people right now that are in that place where they were so on fire, and you realize that you're up against a machine, and that machine wants to grind you into dust unless you do exactly as they want you to fit in.
Yep.
Never surrender that part of your life where you feel like you can make the difference. With the call to public service is incredible, and we've destroyed it in so many people because they realize that system is not what they want to be a part of. Politics is still good. The ability to decide how we want to govern ourselves, we have to decide that we want to be we the people governing ourselves, or somebody else will govern us for us. That's political.
Yep.
When I am my own government, I will decide what I'm going to do. That is politics. And so if you want to get an instant hit of just that dopamine of me, what it actually means, watch Mr. Smith Goes to Washington with Jimmy Stewart.
Fantastic film.
Just absolutely let just wash over you, because that system raises its hand. And we talked about the fact that it continuously, we're up against the same enemy from the dawn of time. It doesn't matter. The Stone Age guys were out there, and then some, Cro-Magnons like, hey, come over here. We're going to get all them Neanderthals or whatever. And they've tried to get everything under their power. Power keeps rising. It has a different face. It will have a different name. It is always the same. It is power. And that is what we fight against each time. The power to rule and to crush people is what we're fighting against. You have to keep that fire alive in you, and you have to want to fight back. And that is, like I said, that's one of the basic core tenets of Watch for the Dam is two things. Actually, it's actual romance, and the other thing is the struggle to overcome systems. And you can see it in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. There's that idealism there, that beauty, and then absolute destruction of all hopes and dreams. And it's still a triumph. An absolute triumph, and you need to watch it again. If you haven't watched it in a while, if you feel depressed, stop feeling depressed. This is our moment. This is our time. We will go down fighting. It's going to be an Alamo, or it's going to be a San Jacinto. We don't know yet. We're going to make it.
I agree. I agree. Hartman B. Hunter, the Lore Forge, for $5 says, Royce, it's cheaper to buy box wine coolers as opposed to individual cans. Well, I don't drink wine. So.
I know. Really?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no. This is Mango
Shots
Cart.
fired.
This is a fantastic. This is a mango wheat ale that tastes like heaven on earth. You talk about boxed wine.
He's coming at your neck there.
I did, yeah. I love when people are like, I will say this though, it's really, really, really fun. When I sneezed, what the hell are you talking? Herman's making.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bless you.
Yeah, thank you. No, Herman's making it. He's like, Royce, just sniff his armpit. I'm like, I sneezed. Anyway, no, people are like, oh yeah, that beer. They're like, they try to make fun of like the craft beers and stuff. I'm like, you realize this one beer costs more than your whole 6-pack, right?
Kibitzing.
No, we have.
I love my craft beer.
We're actually, I live in a family of. We have alcoholics in my family. Have long, way back. Sorry, but I also come from part of the family where they know how to craft and create beers and alcohol. And one of the things, so like being a person that's allergic to milk, I still love the look of cheese and the way it looks. And being a family of people that know, this is like we're magical fairies and that's poison for us. That's our kryptonite. But at the same time, the appreciation of actually what it takes to create and make this elixir, which actually saves lives and actually is there to purify water, it's there to clean wounds, and it can make the sad heart glad. And that's what it's there for, is to uplift. For those who can, it's a fantastic thing. Mm-hmm. And when you put that much work into trying to get that particular item the way it needs to be, it's a journey of its own.
Mm-hmm. True. And for those of you that are curious, this is High West Rye Whiskey. Wow. And it's phenomenal.
People are counting the inches of chair above your head right now.
Yeah, by this point, I start to sink. I've had so many drinks, I'm like jello.
Yeah, you know what he tells me? He goes, I really didn't drink until I got onto Iron Age Nights. I'm like, oh,
every Friday, man, I cut loose.
Oh God, I'm so glad to be an inspiration to people. How do I not? Never mind. There's only one stream I've been drunk on. And that was my birthday stream, and that's because I kind of went into that one a little like half lit. So,
oh no, this isn't drunk, bro. I would need at least 2 more drinks before I got actually drunk.
Oh, well, this is the safe place for you to be. Safe environment. You're where you're not out driving or something like that. And you're in with your friends. So
absolutely.
I'll be chatter or whatever it is.
And this is the only night that I drink. Like specifically, I keep my decanter closed, except for Friday nights on Iron Age nights.
Hey, one of these days, show's gonna grow big enough. We're all gonna gather together. We're gonna set up a studio in someone's kitchen or something like that, and we're all gonna have live Iron Age nights where it's gonna be great.
Well, one of these days, I would love to. Do a convention or something like that, and we can do at least one of these things live.
Hell yeah!
But
I have the equipment. I actually have the equipment to pull off the live. I have everything that we would need, except for the travel computer. That's the travel computer that can pull it off. But outside of that,
yeah.
Except at a convention, I probably shouldn't get drunk.
No.
Come on, do it. All right.
Not after hours and not in the hotel room, and then in the hotel.
Yeah, afterwards. The after show will be fire.
There you go.
Yeah.
Everybody will be buying you drinks, sir.
Kikomon for $5. Kikomon song rating from RH Snow. Woo! See, I told you, he's been begging about the song. He's like, play the song. Let me get through some super chats. He dropped like 3 or 4 super chats to play the song.
Pay for it. You have to do it.
I will do it. I just gotta get through the super chats. I will totally do it though. I'm saving it for the end of the show.
I'm ready.
Oh yeah, your outro.
Yeah, right. Actually, I could play it for the outro.
Yeah,
I'm totally.
Yeah, but that's when we talk.
That is true. I can't play it for the outro because that's when we talk. $2. For Kikomon for $2. It's so gay. Read it already. Legend of Shalar, dude. I hate you trolls. You bunch of trolls.
I mean, it's not bad.
No, it's not bad. Kikomon for $20 says, show me.
I saw a review about it, actually.
Yeah,
It's Legends. That's the problem. I think you're just not looking for it correctly.
Yeah, you might.
I don't know why the S makes a difference.
I don't. I hate you trolls. Show me, show you. Kikomon, play the song. Play the song. Hail. All right, Snow. See, I told you. He was going at it. He's like, play the song.
Good grief.
I know. For $2 from Maji Chan. Grandma said if a performance makes you stop, tip.
No, I used to live by tips. I had to work tables while I was pregnant with my daughter.
I've been there.
Yeah, 7 months pregnant. You're like, man, that $2 every visit helps. Yes, tip every time. That's one thing I love. Somebody takes the time to cook me and bring me a meal, and that waitress brings it out, and the hostess in the front. Y'all, I love y'all because I did not have to make, because mama can't cook. Let me tell you something right now. That totally missed me. My mother basically cloned herself and it turned into my daughter. And it just, everything she did, everything, it was all just landed on my child. And she even looks like my mom. It's really weird. I just cloned my mom and she was like on both sides of me. But so I can't cook worth a dang. So when people cook for me, I'm like, that is the bomb. I will pay somebody to do that. And if you're the same thing with music, somebody that's out there actually with a song that sounds so good that you stop and just listen, whether they're busking or whatever, go out there and, throw $1 in the hat, baby, because that's a gift that a lot of people are losing now. The ability to actually sit down with an instrument and play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter and I hit the Atlantic City Boardwalk over last summer because I'm East Coast. And while we were out there just wandering around, there were a bunch of people just busking, musicians playing songs. And there's this one young guy who was just riffing on a guitar. Like nothing you knew. He was just playing from the heart. Yeah. And it was beautiful. And I was like, dude, this is amazing. I dropped a 20 in his guitar case. I was like, dude, your music is amazing. It was just so beautiful to listen to, and especially with the backdrop of the beach. It was so cool.
I've been there, and that's really awesome. Kikomon for $2 says, "We the people who here voted to bomb Libya." What the? I don't think anybody here voted to bomb Libya, and that's the freaking problem. Is they're just like, oh hey, yeah, no, I think that's the point. Like, nope, not gonna rant. Nope, not doing it. Not gonna rant.
Going off the rails.
Save it for Sunday.
Yeah, I'll save it for Sunday. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sure I'll get on a tear on Sunday at some point. I always, because I'm
looking forward to the end of catechumen class because then I can come join you on the Sunday streams.
Oh wow.
I always tell myself, I'm like, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. And then and then like 20 minutes into it, and it never fails. Like 20 minutes into it, somebody will say something. I'm like, you know what? And I apologize for this, but as an example, like, you know what? And these sons of bitchin' motherfuckers. I'm like, and then my mom will chat down below, and I'm like,
Mom is there for you. If Mom, we love you, Mom.
I just like, it's just, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. And everybody knows my mom watches like the Sunday streams and stuff now. So every time I go off the rails, everybody's like, language, Royce, language. Your mom's watching. Like, I know she's watching. I'm trying. Okay. I'm trying.
Sundays, we've got church on Sundays. And we actually have a YouTube channel for the church as well. And so I make the videos for it, put it all together and everything like that. And we have all the original music. And so we're like putting that together and have a whole team on it. But so by the time I get over to your feed, it's like right at the end, right there. And then you're like,
you don't join my stream after you get out of church. No.
Well, that's what I would end up doing.
Don't do that. Yeah, it's like then you got to go back to church.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I have 10 o'clock mass, and then I have 11:30 catechumen class, which is why I don't show up for the Sunday stream. But as soon as that's over, I'm in.
Yeah, that's something I'm actually going to get my kids into, and I'm going to have to start teaching them. That's something that I won't get into that discussion tonight because we're
let's finish the super chats and play the Kikomon song.
Yeah. I got to finish. Okay, one more. Joseph Peck for $2.
Not Josh.
Don't go there with me right now. Okay. I cannot believe I did that. Anyway, LOS TTRPG night at Royce's house plus home cooking.
Gosh, yes.
I'm down.
That would be a thing. Oh, dude, my wife, she loves that's one thing is my wife and I love to cook for people. I love and I like one of the things that is so my favorite thing. I get my smoker going and I get something smoking. And my wife will go inside and she'll have things going inside, and we just love it. So we'll just bring food to people and we feast, and then we usually end up playing like Cards Against Humanity and stuff like that, and just having and you really find out exactly how twisted people are and how dirty they are when you play Cards Against Humanity with them.
I know. Maybe I should. I don't know.
Oh man. Herman P. Hunter, the lore for just counting your blood alcohol level the more you sink in the chair.
Mm-hmm.
It's a meme at this point. All right. Okay. I told Kikomon that I would do this.
Yes. It's time for the song.
Before you
It
put,
is.
y'all go check out Herman's book. Y'all go get it. It's getting ready to hit release. The Wizard's Stone.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
very good.
There you go. What fantastic.
From Master Loreforge himself.
See.
What?
Here we go.
Done.
Show me, show you, Kiko-man, show me, show you, Kiko-man.
I love how terrified those
I know.
bride
I
things
know.
look.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh.
Show me, show you, Kiko-man, show me, show you, Kiko-man. Alright!
I still wonder the drugs that people were on when they came up with that.
Your love. Or you can an entire bottle of Kikkoman, which will do that.
Oh, I thought half of my chat was going to unsubscribe from the channel last week when I was like, I don't like soy sauce. I don't.
Ooh.
They were just like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, no, it's gross. Like, I don't like it.
Ooh.
Soy sauce with Hellman's mayo is the bomb.
I like spicy food. I'm a spicy food fan. My wife, she grows homemade peppers every year, and she does homemade hot sauces and homemade spicy barbecues for me and stuff like that.
Yum.
She like, and I eat stuff that's actually, I have this this is on my desk because it's just one of my. This is the Unholy Trinity hot sauce.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
This is
Yes.
it's got Scorpion, Carolina Reaper, and the Naga Holakai chili pepper in it. And
Scoville
this
rating?
one, this one's probably up in the millions. So
That little dab.
yeah, that one's this one will murder
Fire
most small
breathing.
children. Yeah. Well, and this is this just goes on eggs. It's just that's what like I eat ridiculously hot food, and like and it's
Eggs are
like.
the place to put that. I will say, I do this one thing. I have chicken. I have chickens and they lay me eggs, y'all. I am queen of the world. I have eggs. I can like, I'm richest woman right now. My daughter's out there like, you know, we're selling for less than they go into the market. And they're still like making more. It's like, holy cow. But eggs are the perfect place to put your hot sauce. They absolutely are. And my favorite breakfast food of all time is my husband makes this thing where he puts like little tortillas. He puts the fried egg on the tortilla and he fries it all together. And it makes like a breakfast burrito, but it's not a breakfast burrito. And it's just fried eggs. And I put hot sauce all over that. I just plus sauce. I like Cholula. It's a very mild sauce. It's not super hot though.
No, Cholula's got good flavor. Cholula's
Yeah.
really good flavor.
Flavor. I put that Cholula on there and I just eat that whole thing.
Oh, absolutely. My wife, she does a garlic habanero that is phenomenal on. Oh yeah, boy.
Oh my god.
Oh, is that Reaper jerky?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm jealous.
Every
my
couple of months, I get a pack of super hot jerky from this local veteran-owned company called the Beef Jerky Experience. They're based out of Gettysburg. It's
Interesting.
awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
For veteran beef jerky, that you don't get, like if you had ammo with it, that would probably, like you get a bullet in every bag. That would be a super awesome.
I'm good with it.
That'd be great.
I love hot food. I love spicy food. So, and actually, peppers are really, really good source of certain vitamins and stuff like that. So the more, and I've had people look at me and they go, how do you taste anything with it's just hot? I'm like, no, it's not. I'm like, you have to taste through the heat. I've had hot food that people just look at me like, my brother thought he was going to feed me something one time that was going to drop me. He's like, dude, I watched a grown man. He's like, and these are oil workers. He's like, I watched a grown man drop to his knees and cry because of how hot that is. And I was sitting there like throwing dabs of it on chips. I was like, no, it's hot. Like, I'm not going to tell you it's not hot. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I was like, but it's really good. And my brother's just like, you're insane. Like, and my brother eats hot food, and my brother is telling me that I'm psychotic.
It's good for you.
I love it. It's so awesome.
And it kills all that. If you eat hot peppers, you will probably never have an ulcer, at least not from H. pylori, because it will kill the bacteria for it. And it also helps you keep your teeth. It actually is one of the things that keeps strong gums. We're never going to lose a teeth or a stomach. You may not have a lining to your esophagus, but you will have everything else.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's a good trade.
It's
good for blood pressure too, by the way.
Oh yeah,
it's fine.
It super is.
Capsaicin, very good for blood pressure.
It's so good. But that's probably why. Actually, that's probably why I'm as healthy as I am with the unhealthy habits that I have. Is because I love eating spicy stuff all the time. I even brought my wife. My wife, a spicy McChicken sandwich from McDonald's used to murder her. Like tears flowing, the snot guzzle. Like she couldn't. Like that's because she's from Wisconsin. They don't know spice. Ketchup is the spiciest food they have in Wisconsin. You can't. That's it. And I've gotten my wife up to a point where she can handle food that's prepared with like homegrown habaneros out of our garden. So I've brought her heat level like way up too.
Yeah.
So
I got this cool snack pack once that had a popcorn that was dusted with million Scoville dried peppers, and it was the greatest thing in the world. I would sit there on the couch watching TV and just pound it in back, and my daughter's looking at me like, why haven't you exploded yet?
Okay, so have y'all ever heard of Twang?
No.
Twang.
No.
Twang.com. Okay, so in the book, actually there's a point where they pay their mercenary armies with little packets of beer salt. Twang makes these beer salts. And I will swear to you, they make a sriracha salt. This comes in a little shaker. And you put that on your popcorn, and it is an experience from Jesus. It literally like
sold. I'm going to go check that out.
Dude,
now I'm curious.
Twang.com. I told them I was writing it in the book because I was like, I want to text this stuff in there. I'm like, I bet they found a packet of Twang, because it's just salt. People literally just lick it. I don't know if you ever had like these Lickimade or whatever. Well, this is like salty Lickimade. They make a pickle salt. They make a salt. They make a michelada salt, which is it's so good. And so I put it. I don't drink, but I put it all over my popcorn. My son will make me popcorn and make this gigantic bowl as big as my head, and I'll eat that thing and put that sriracha sauce on it. Oh, it's so spicy and it is so good. So look at Twang.com, y'all. It's got so good that mercenary armies in post-apocalyptic Texas will be paid with packets.
Awesome.
I'm checking it out now.
Sold.
I actually my wife and we got to go place an order. There's a good hot sauce place that we know that's they're national. I got to go place a hot sauce order because
I love Reaper jerky though. I cannot get enough of it.
There's a place that's got some really good Reaper jerky, dude.
Every couple of months I have to place an order, 12 packs, man.
We need to make sure that we eat better before the next stream, because
you know what actually, you know what I've been wanting to do, and I got to see, and I don't know if it's just gonna be like a three of us guys night, but I want to do the Hot Ones challenge with you guys.
Ooh, yeah.
And we'll have to get the cameras set up so that way, obviously, nothing ever disappears. But we'll start with the mildest of the sauce, and we'll just do a live stream. And just every 5 minutes or so, we'll just dip a chicken wing in the hot sauce and just. I would love to do the hot ones challenge with you guys.
That sounds good to me, man.
That sounds like a good. We'll have to figure out a
I can drink during that, right?
like commemoration.
Yes.
A good number.
You have to handle it.
Yeah, what should we do? I don't know. We'll figure it out. All right.
I
Well,
love chicken wings.
we have reached that point of the evening where it is time for everybody to share their links and talk about the things that they are doing. And no, it's that time. It is.
It's show time.
And I think I know we've definitely give us a sub count. All right, I tell you guys. All right, you guys, what do you guys think? If I hit 2,000 subs, you guys share the channel. I do 2,000 subs, 2,500.
No. I was gonna say these. If we're actually doing a hot ones like challenge, those are like extremely expensive for those packs of sauce.
Oh, I'm aware.
So,
I'm aware.
like times 3. So, all right, I'm just saying.
I'm
We
aware.
want to set a good goal here, where we have to toss out $300.
That's
Totally
Because
worth it.
each of us, it can't just be one. You know what I mean? That's the problem. We got to like
I know.
multiply everything by 3.
I know.
I'll buy my own. I don't fucking care.
I need it. I've actually been trying to get my wife to buy it, and like she's totally down to do it. I just need if I give her an excuse to say, "Hey, we're gonna do it on the channel," she'll.
Oh, okay. I see.
It's just like
A business expense. Yes. Okay.
it's a business expense, dude. You have no idea how much I'm gonna use that for YouTube. Like anything that I do on the channel. So.
We'll figure it out. This will be a point of discussion in the after show.
Yes.
Bring on the burn.
Yes.
All right.
fun to watch.
I think we should allow our lovely guest to go first with the shilling.
Yes.
Get these
What are you
links.
doing? Talk about what you're doing. We got to share your stuff more.
I'll be right back.
I wrote a series. It's called Watcher of the Damned. There you go. It's 1,000,000 words, y'all. 1,000,000 words. I'm counting. I'm impressed. No, I love this series. Literally, if the Georgia Guidestones became real, and how do people fight back against an all-consuming surveillance state? And how do you overcome a system that tries to crush your hopes and dreams? And how do we be free and still be human? And so that's what Watcher of the Damned is all about. And I want to give a huge shout out to people that have helped me a bunch, including Herman P. Hunter. Thank you so much, Herman. You are a fantastic guy. Chester Busby, who just got his channel copy struck, and I hope he gets it back because we do that every week. And you can see us on there with Drawn and Quartered Fan Edition on Thursday nights, starting at 9 p.m. Central Time. And we do that every week. We go out and draw and have a subject, and we have a lot of fun with that. The things that I already talked about, of course, you can find it on watchofthedamned.com or flow.page/RH Snow to see all of my YouTube channels and Twitter and everything else that I have out there. Come over there and I will say howdy to you because I love my readers. I love all of y'all. And we do have this series. I believe in this series. I firmly believe that God's got a message in it, actually, because I think that we're going to know how to be free. We need to know how to be free. And this series is about freedom. And so if you believe in that, if you believe in freedom, and if you believe in self-determination and the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, then read my book, Watcher of the Damned.
Yes.
And read 3 series long, and I will have it done for you. I promise.
Awesome.
I did forget over in the locals chat, we have Frequency Studios for 420.
Frequency.
He says, hail, Transmutation Texas was good. So hit the like button.
Did you really? I'm so excited. Look, I love him so much. Anybody who reads my book, I feel like they're the only person on my planet. I love you so much. I love you too, Richard, because you're reading it. It's like every one of you is precious to me. I mean, that's the weird part about being an author. You may not have. I actually probably would be counted as a sort of a mid-list author now. I haven't had any advertising or anything. It's just you people. When you people show up, it makes all the difference for me. And so literally, I love you because when we get finished with the entire series, we're going to do a huge advertising push. And we're going to be putting it because we know a lot of people won't read until the entire series is done.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, there's a lot of content there. I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think we
yeah.
need to get an article up, if nothing else, on
oh, sweet.
on
Yeah.
this. So yeah, I'll be reaching out about that.
That first series is actually a standalone series. Believe it or not, the 6 books of Watcher the Damned Watcher, which is the first series. I wrote the ending of that series. I knew that I had the arc and I wanted to finish it out, but I also had gotten a test back that said that I might have kidney cancer. And
Oh, geez.
it was a bad thing, a really bad. And it was while I was writing the book. So I wrote the book not knowing if I would be able to continue the series. And so I wrote it as if it could end right there. And so that's how the series gets. So it does stand on its own. And fortunately for me, I was blessed enough to be able to know that that wasn't the case. And I was very grateful to God that it wasn't, because I have had friends that passed from. And so the book, each series does stand on its own. So if you want to read it, go ahead and read that first 6 books. It's all in there. And something I didn't get to mention, it is a triple Prometheus Award nominee. And that's not something that happens too often. But I don't know if it's ever happened to one author in 1 year. And we actually had all 3 books that were released that year were nominated for the Prometheus Awards, which is a huge award. It was a fantastic honor. I was in the League of Angels, literally. These people, the ones that were the finalists were the Nobel Prize winner and some other people. And I'm like, and Andy Weir is in there. And I'm like, I'm me. Hi. I just wrote a book, So, so that's, if you want to know more about that, what the series is about, the Prometheus Awards will tell you everything you need to know about the series. So it was a big honor. And that's one thing I really need to probably play up more, is the fact that I did get nominated, and plan on trying to get that resubmitted again this next year. I hope so. When we release, we're going to.
Awesome.
Thank you. I love it.
Well, thank you for being here. This has been a pleasure.
No,
Yes.
that was so wonderful. All of you people just make me happy. Every time I listen, you guys don't realize how joyful it makes me to see you out there. Knowing that you're there, that you're doing everything you are in the face of it. Peter Parker has nothing on you guys. You're living your life right now, where it is, with all the trauma and the tragedy and everything else that's out there, and the joy, all the hot sauce and everything else that you've got.
Hot sauce.
And you're being serious. So tonight, when you get off of here, I want you to go in, and that includes you in the chat right now. Everybody who's watching this, the future and the past and everything else, go in and look in the mirror and tell yourself, this is my story. This is my heroic arc. Go live your life on Legendary.
Hell yes.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Oh,
you gave me the perfect segue. Mr. Daniel P. Riley, how are you going to live your life on Legendary?
You're gonna make me shill, huh?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You're
All right,
almost
so-
there. You're almost a full hand and a half. When he hits a hand and a half, it's chill time.
Yeah. Strap in. All right. So, most recent works: Jisadai, the Kurosawa-inspired sci-fi samurai epic novella series I have been working on. I have just completed chapter 5 of the second book. A lot more in this than there was in the first one, I will admit. Every iteration is going to get better from there. That's how I roll. If you like breakneck combat and great heartfelt storytelling, that's what I'm told this book is. I wrote it for pure fun. The character has been in my head for years, and putting him down on paper has been a wonderful experience. The second one, released at near the end of last year, Legacy of Heroes, my golden age superhero send-off. 3 young superhumans who want to do good for good's sake in different forms. Fiona Wolf did a review on Amazon. You can check it out on the Amazon link. I was utterly blown away by her insights into what I wrote. She hit on so many notes that I was hoping someone would notice, so that was fantastic. She's apparently doing a full deep dive, and I'm kind of afraid of that.
Be afraid. But also very grateful.
She's wonderful, and
She is the real deal. She is.
she's fantastic. And I love her Uplift Protocol. So if you haven't heard of the Uplift Protocol, check that out on Fiona Wolf's stuff. It's great.
Oh, I'm
yeah. And eventually, I've been slowly working on it as soon as I get an opportunity after client work. The Tales of Halcyon, my fantasy series about a pointless fat kid who gets roped into an epic hero's quest by a wizard, will be reforged. That's literally what I'm calling it, the Tales of Halcyon Reforged, with illustrations by Ian Wilson at The Great Scott on Twitter. And it'll be compiled into a full-size compendium of all 3 books in one format for you to purchase. That'll be out hopefully by... I'm aiming for fall.
Wow.
Ooh, that'll be good.
Awesome.
And if anyone wants help with writing any of their things or just wants some motivation on creating those wonderful things that are in your head, whimsyland.org. That's my literary coaching and services. I will spend time with you once a week to make sure that you get your project as perfectly polished as you can do it in your voice, the way you want it to read, so that you can get it out there for the world.
Well, that sounds actually really good.
And that's my shill, half drunk shill.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I love it. King Richard.
Well, I've got a couple things going on. First and foremost, if you guys have not taken a look at the short story prompt submissions from January, I really encourage you guys to go take a look at those. Give them a skim, and if any of them catch your eye, give them a read, and then vote for those. And leave those authors your feedback and your likes and everything else, because that's really important to continuing the growth of the Iron Age and encouraging new people to hone their craft and grow as authors. That a little bit of encouragement can go a long way.
And put themselves out there. I mean,
yes, it's a major step of bravery. And
it is. It's amazing to me every time I see your stuff. That is such a polished site. It looks fantastic.
Thank you.
Gorgeous. The stories are great. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm really looking forward to this magazine.
Yes, and that segues perfectly into the magazine, which does have a title now, although I'm going to hold on to that for a little bit longer until I do an announcement video going over more details of what's going to be in it. And the pre-order for that should be up sometime mid-March. But in the meantime, I'm still taking submissions, especially for comics. I have a lot of people talking to me about sending in short fiction, but I've only received a small amount. So if you have something that you have not published yet that is on the shelf and you're thinking about sending it in somewhere, I would like to take a look at it. These are paid. And if you have a comic or just, anything that you have that you feel like would be really fun, a great thing to put in a magazine that captures your idea of the spirit of the Iron Age, I want to hear about it. So you can send emails to magazine@ironage.media, and I'll answer whatever questions you may have about it. And I guess the last shill that I will do, well, actually, I have one more shill, and that is kind of a partial shill, is that I am still working on some stuff with Skunk's Workshop. And hopefully, once the magazine chaos subsides a little bit, there'll be some more news on that. It'll be of the more digital variety. And the magazine, by the way, going back to that, speaking of digital, some people are assuming that it's digital only. That is not the case. It is going to be physical as well as digital. But my pricing structure, everything's going to be around physical. So that's really what I'm going for, is making sure that we can actually print something physical, get it out to people, and do that in a very timely fashion. So,
And you'll be working with me because I am
yes, exactly
the editor for the short stories.
Yes, meet one of the editors, and we'll be cranking this thing out. And hopefully, if everything goes well, it's not going to be like another 6 months or a year until issue number 2. Hopefully, it'll be rolling out pretty rapid pace once we get things, once we establish that there's actually a market for it.
Oh yeah,
and then
guaranteed, because I'm going to be pushing him every step of the way.
We'll see. And then last but not least, I'm going to show my beautiful wife's book, The Gadling Legacy, Haven's Fall.
Mm-hmm.
Pick it up. I've dropped a link to Amazon in the chat. So it's a science fiction, post-apocalyptic, kind of more character-driven series, or it's a single book right now, but she is working on the sequel. So, and if you want a taste of that world, she also has a short story and some other short stories on her Substack. So,
and I will double show for that one because I'm currently reading The Gadling Legacy right now. After finishing Star Shatter, that was the next one on my list, and I've been working my way through the first couple of chapters, and I have to say I am impressed.
Well, good. I'm glad
it is well written, and the characterizations are fantastic. I enjoy every character that's been introduced in the first. I want to say I'm on the 4th chapter at this point, so most of the characters are pretty established, and they are very enjoyable to read about.
Oh wow, that's awesome. And tell her I got her. I think I have her on my Substack list because I've got a big old Substack list.
There are too many people to follow. I've realized this. There are too many people to follow in too little time.
I tweeted about that. I was like, I can't jump on every Substack. I'll never get anything done.
Yeah, I can't. Well, like I said, I'm still working through, Star Shatter, but with time with the wife, time with the kids, the day job, putting out videos every day on the channel. And then, like I said, tomorrow I promised my daughter that I would not do anything YouTube related on her birthday, and it is her birthday tomorrow. So
yeah, absolutely.
And so it's one of those things. It's like, the reading time that I have, like I might be able to read, like legitimately, I might be able to read a couple of pages a week because it's just, constantly busy, constantly moving. And then obviously I can't put my wife and the kids on the back burner. And everybody's like, dude, you got to read. When are you going to finish? When are you going to finish? And they're like, well, you were doing all that. And they're like, I read like 4 books. I'm like, that's awesome. I'm raising 4 kids.
What works for me is a half hour to an hour at the end of the night when I'm settled in bed. I just read maybe a chapter and then I crash.
So my issue is reading doesn't wind me down. It winds me up.
True.
And so I can't do that. I have to sit and chill. I have to just sit and chill and just zombie for a little bit. Because if I don't do that, I just don't sleep.
I find it relaxing and I get awesome dreams when I do that. It's fun.
No, I always end up like if I sit there and I'm reading, it will if I sit there and I'm reading, it will either like wind me up for the night, or I'll read 4 sentences and then I fall asleep. Like there's no chill. There's no in between. So like when I read, I actually have to sit in an uncomfortable way to keep myself awake. Like even during the day, it's stupid. It's really stupid. And like obviously if you get into the book, like you're just like, oh yeah, wow. Like you're jazzed up and you're going, but like there's no in between for me. Reading is usually not a relaxing experience for me, and that's because I didn't train myself I didn't train myself as a kid to enjoy it, and that's where that comes from. But
do what you love. You're doing what you love. Never feel guilty about the fact you're doing what is most important to you first.
No, I don't feel guilty about that at all.
Are so special because they're making that a priority, but you're helping them us. So you are doing exactly what you need to be doing, and you are connecting me right now with readers, and that's insane. I love this. I think it's fantastic. So never feel guilty about the fact you've only got this much time and you are using the gifts that God gave you to get these things out. So you just connected us with our people, and thank you.
Doing my best. Doing my best.
Beautiful. Yep.
So, all right, well, I guess it's my time to shill. And all I'm going to say is, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here on A Drink with Crazy. And if you like what I am doing, I would absolutely love it if you guys would go down, make sure you guys like this stream, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, and do me a favor, the YouTube algorithm loses its mind when you guys hit the share button. If you guys actually share this off platform and send it somewhere else and get in front of other people's eyes, the YouTube algorithm loves that. It loses its mind, and then all of a sudden it thinks that, you know, people actually want to be here and people want to check this out, and then it starts showing it to other people. So if you guys would do that for me, hit that share button and take this video off platform and show other people the absolutely fantastic writer that is RH Snow in this awesome Iron Age Nights number 18. That would mean the most to me. And I look forward to seeing you all next week, and I hope you guys have a good week. So thank you so much for being here. It is time for that lovely outro music that everybody loves.
Yes.
And Daniel doing his
haircut.
white girl dance.
Yep. Hey, haircut. You forgot to say it. Watcher of the Damned, folks.
There
Buy
we
it,
go.
read
I
it,
did.
enjoy it.
See, don't judge the Wig of Destiny. The Wig of Destiny knows all.
I promised I was going to call you haircut at some point during the stream, so I figured I'd get it
Dude.
in the outro.
I love the fact that somebody said I wore a wig. That was the most hilarious thing.
Well, your wig, you do have the wig in your logo right here.
I know.
I understand why
Yeah.
you thought
I
it.
know. Like, I love that logo, dude. Xavier Guzman did such a good job on that.
True.
He did
And-
such a good job on that. Well, that's why, like, because he just reached out and was like, "Hey, man, I really want to help you out," and so I was like, "Yeah, absolutely, thank you." And I told him, I was like, "Dude, your link is going to be in every video that I do from now on," and it is, because Xavier does
I
great
like
work.
the floating objects. They amuse me when I've gotten to this drunk point.
Lots of things amuse you. Lots
Well,
of
that's
things.
true.
Oh,
Good books, great people.
Oh,
Yes, we know, Master Loreforge.
He just keeps going until somebody says something. It's always
that's his thing. That's his thing. And I want to say,
Utterly
you
inspired
so
by
much.
RH Snow, yes.
I know. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here on Iron Age Nights, and we will see you all next time. Cheers, everybody.
I love you.
Good night.
Good night.